Dun 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 da 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 da. Are we live? Are we live? Let's see if we're live. Okay, it looks like we're live. Hello. How are we all doing? So first thing I want to bring up here, just because I know that the YouTube algorithm tends to bury things. Anytime I do something that I think is important to me or exciting to me or something I care about, that video gets completely buried and sodomized and destroyed by the algorithm. So on a channel with 1.6 million subscribers, about 7 hours later, this has gotten 4.7 thousand views, which is, yeah, that's like 0.3 or 0.4% of my viewership. So I announced that I was going to be doing some more free workshops for basic troubleshooting and also soldering. So if you're interested in the kind of stuff I go over on this channel in the board repair videos and you have some question, you can come by. And I have 2 links to meetup.com in the description for these 2 meetups. One of them is going to be Thursday at 2 p.m. 4 p.m. Yeah, Thursday. One of them is Thursday at 4 p.m. and the other one is Saturday at 2 p.m. And, this is one of the things that I'm really kind of excited about doing. I'm going to be looking to figure out a way to make this viable to offer for free with people who are able to teach or instruct other than me eventually that are actually really good at this, so that you're not just getting instruction from hobbyists, you're also getting instruction from people that are, in the business and been doing it properly for a long time. And I want to be able to make this available for free, and I'm going to be experimenting with this and seeing if I can make it make sense financially going forward so that I can keep this free to anybody who wants to come by. And so I announced that, and I was kind of excited about it. So I'm not surprised that because it's something I'm excited about that it probably showed up in nobody's feed because of thank you, Susan W. We really appreciate that here as the content creators on your platform. So I just wanted to announce that before we get started into the stream. So let's see what we have tonight. Hello? When do you think Tesla will do right to repair properly? I don't know. When is every other car company going to? See, here's the thing that people don't get. I don't think it's... I'm trying to not be a fanboy here. So, here, how do I put this? I don't think it's so much Tesla being anti-right to repair so much as it is that every car company, as they shift to electric, is going to kind of do what phone manufacturers do versus computers. So when you had a computer, it was totally standard that you'd be able to load whatever operating system you want. And the idea that you wouldn't be able to install an operating system of your choice on a computer that you purchased is insane. Then we switched over to smartphones where they locked the bootloader, where you're not allowed to install the OS of your choice on the device, and we accept this as normal. And the same companies that sold us computers where we could install any OS we want simultaneously sell us cell phones with locked bootloaders. Once you switch from one platform or paradigm to another new paradigm, you're able to kind of reset things and get people to think of things in a different way. And we had a much more free society when personal computers started to become popular in the 1980s, and we have a much less free society now. We have, think of the children, safety, whatever, blah, blah, bullshit Karen society, so that because that actually makes more money. And what we have now when it comes to cars is very similar. So I believe that every car company is going to follow Tesla's lead. It's just that Tesla is a company that only makes electric cars, which makes it the most obvious when they have these types of abuses. But I do believe that every car company is going to do what Tesla does, the same way that virtually every cell phone you get nowadays, almost every Android phone is going to try to lock the bootloader on you so that you can't install an OS of your choice. And these companies that make these smartphones previously sold laptops and desktops where you could install whatever OS you want. I think the same is going to happen with cars, where the lack of repairability in electric cars is not going to be because they're electric. It's going to be because once you switch to a new paradigm, you can do a rug pull on everybody and see what you get away with. And if you're able to get away with doing a rug pull on people's freedom, you're going to do it. So I don't think it's going to be a specific Tesla thing. I don't think it's going to be a Tesla thing. I think it's going to be an electric car thing in general as you switch over from ICE cars to electric. And to be clear, I don't think it's because electric cars are inherently less repairable. I think it's going to be because electric cars are coming out as we've entered this new paradigm of not caring about freedom when purchasing products anymore, and caring so much about, think of the children. What if this goes on fire? What if this gets hurt? Let's care about the brand experience above all. I think it's a reflection of the culture, not so much Tesla. Not saying that Tesla doesn't do some stupid shit, Again, like, interesting cars, but shitty company. I could go on for a long time about things that make them a shitty company, but there's a lot of stuff that makes them a shitty company. How do you get people to care about this topic? Most people don't understand the topic. You get people to care about it when it affects them personally, and that's why a lot of people have asked why I don't go on about the environment and e-waste and that. It doesn't really hit you. Again, unless you're living right outside the pile of e-waste being burned in Africa or India, it doesn't really hit you. What hits you is when you get told something's going to be $2,000 and I can fix it for $75. That's what gets you. Or when you're told it'll be $1,400 and you lose your data, and I say $300 and you don't lose your data. Or I show you how to do it on your own. If I show you how to fix something on your own and you save $1,000, you're then going to be invested in a way that you wouldn't be invested if I just say, hey, this is a problem. You should care about this problem. There's a lot of problems in the world, but people are going to focus and care about the problems that affect them themselves. Hello, Nicole. I can't stay for... thank you, Buran. But yeah, people care when it affects them personally. So I really try to speak to where it affects people personally, and that's in their wallet. Thank you for your videos. Taught myself border pay during quarantine. Got myself a $5 an hour raise upon returning to work. That's awesome, Norby. I really appreciate that. See, things like that. So if somebody gets a $5 an hour raise from learning this, now they're invested. They're going to care about repair because it personally affects them, and I think that's an important one. Extreme exodus of New York City people to here in Western Massachusetts. I've only been to Cambridge, Massachusetts. I haven't spent much time in the rest of Massachusetts, but I'd love to visit sometime, and I'd love to check out the rest of the state. The only part of Massachusetts I got to check out is the part that's like more expensive New York. And there are places out there in the United States that are actually more expensive than New York City, and Cambridge was one of them. I was very surprised, but it is indeed possible. TikTok kids are fixing iPhones now because... Well, that's cool. Can you do an East Midtown video? I was never really an East Midtown kind of guy. East Midtown is really for your upscale, higher class companies, your insurance companies, your MetLifes and stuff like that. I was always like working at small businesses or small repair shops or recording studios and rehearsal studios. West Midtown is more gritty than East Midtown. East Midtown is way more upscale, upper class, and professional, college the college educated, 100K a year kind of jobs. I don't really, the Murray Hill neighborhoods and stuff like that, I don't really know very well. I did a lot of house calls there back between 2009 and 2011 when I was doing house calls. But for the most part, I never really messed with East Midtown very much. But I'd be happy to take a look through it, do a walk through it, so we could take a look at what the real estate looks like if there's interest in it. What do you think of Linus's review of the Framework laptop? I like it. A random Lewis stream, what a treat. Thanks, man. Thank you. When it comes to the Framework laptop, a lot of people have asked if I'm buying one, and I'm not going to buy one just because it doesn't really make sense for me to purchase a laptop. It's not even about purchasing a Framework. It's just I have a ThinkPad P50. The ThinkPad P50 I have has something like a 9,000 CPU benchmark score, and I paid $1,200 for that laptop in 2017. And the Framework laptop, 4.5 years later, is $2,000 and has a 10,000 CPU benchmark score. So I'm getting about 10% more performance out of the computer, but it costs $800 more than the laptop I bought 4 years ago. And honestly, I don't really have a reason to replace my ThinkPad. I'm going to run that shit into the ground. Like, the TSA is screwed with that thing. It's dropped it. It's gotten destroyed on my trips. I'm going to keep using that until it's dead. So I don't really have a need for a new laptop at this point in time. Once I do have a need for a new laptop, I am going to want to buy something that at the very least gets a 20,000 on CPU benchmark, just because, like, for me, it doesn't make sense to buy a new one or to upgrade until I'm at the very least doubling my performance. That's what I usually do with desktop PCs or even laptop PCs. Like, I try to make mine last until I can pay the same amount of money that I did for my old machine and get double on CPU benchmark, if that makes sense. I'm going to keep that shit for a while. But it seems like a great computer, and I really hope that they're successful with it, and I really hope they're able to make Ryzen models so that they're able to get the CPU benchmark up a little bit. I understand that companies like that are trying to make repairable products that are new startups, they don't have the scale in production to be able to compete with Dell and everybody else in price. I respect that. I understand that. But it's just even the companies that do have that scale are producing products that are woefully underpowered because they're still using obsolete Intel processors rather than superior Ryzen processors. And even a lot of Dell's XPS line, or definitely Lenovo's ThinkPad line, I mean, they are so behind, it's pathetic. When you look at the CPU benchmark scores of $3,000 ThinkPad P-Series machines, they're just horrible compared to Ryzen machines that cost half as much. So I'm really waiting for a lot of these companies to start embracing Ryzen, because it's just, I don't want to pay top dollar for a slow CPU. And that's what Intel offers now, top dollar for a slow CPU. And I'm not a fanboy. If it was the other way around, I'd be more than happy to buy Intel. But it just so happens that Ryzen is killing it with price to performance ratio, and I have no desire to get something that's Intel at this point in time. Best place to stay in New York City on budget for your repair class? That's a good question. Everything here is a ripoff. I unfortunately don't have an answer. Where is Mr. Clinton? Mr. Clinton has been protesting. He sees that there's a labor shortage and he wants to get paid more to appear in these videos. And I said, no, screw you. But I admire what they're doing. I admire that they're willing to be the first ones forward with a new machine. And if my ThinkPad did die tomorrow, I would consider a framework laptop. But again, like, this is kind of like the Atom reworkstation. A lot of people said, if you like the Atom and you started selling the Atom so much, then why are you using a Quick? It's like, because my Quick hasn't died yet. I'm not going to replace it. Can I add to Repair Weekly with IP pictures from medical service equipment manuals? Have been thinking about adding preventative maintenance routines. What I would ask that you do is, we're going to eventually have a discussion of this. And if there's intellectual property involved, I don't want to wind up getting shut down on there. My YouTube channel is different from the wiki. My YouTube channel is separate because it's not, like, my YouTube channel is not part of a nonprofit, whereas my that wiki is a part of a nonprofit. So it's not just me that gets hurt if there is any sort of legal action. So I have an open repair Discord. I have a Discord where we discuss that shit, and just bring it up with Daniel. Daniel is in there, and I would bring it up with him what it is you're looking to add. I just added a link to the chat. What program do you use for your CPU benchmark on? I don't CPU benchmark my machine. I just Google my processor and check out a website called CPU benchmark. CPU. There's a website that where they. I don't have the time to go through like 80 different things to check out all the different things the CPU is good at. I just take a look at the CPU benchmark single score and call it a day. I'm just not that into it. What's your take on Apple basically admitting it's wrong and take the touch bar and give us HDMI port again? That question is very, very strangely phrased to the point where I barely understand it. Could you go back to that rental space with the Karen and see if it's still for sale? Oh yeah, it is. They're all for rent. I've looked through them. They're all for rent. They really are. There's an art gallery and there's a Popeyes that got rented since then. But all the other spaces I looked at, and I do mean all, are still available. And they will be until the end of time because they're still asking too much money. It's sad, but the market really does need to crash in order for there to be a renaissance in New York City. And one of the reasons that I'm excited about New York City crashing and failing and burning is because it needs to crash and fail and burn for it to start anew. It's kind of like a dying forest ecosystem or something. You need the trees to die, to return to the earth, for there to turn into compost, to eventually then for a new ecosystem to rise up, And that stage needs to happen. I wasn't paying attention in high school biology, so I probably fucked up that analogy. But I hope you get the idea of what I'm talking about. Right now, we're in that awkward place between a working ecosystem and a newly rebuilt ecosystem, and it needs to fail and crumble so that it can be rebuilt anew. Right now, it's a joke. It's such a joke. You just have it's so empty everywhere. And the people that argue with me in these videos that say he's wrong, he's making this up, it's like, I mean, no, I'm not. I'm walking around with a fucking camera. You're welcome to verify and walk through any of the blocks that I've went through at any time of the day and see for yourself. There's, it's not like I'm hiding the ball on where I'm walking. You can see all this stuff is totally dead. You have people walking around, but like it's not sustainable when you have all these places that are closed and dead. That is not sustainable for a city with a $70 to $80 billion budget. I don't care what anybody says. Thank you for your efforts. I hope that folks can stir from their complacency and defend their individual rights, such as the right to repair goods they own. I hope so too, and thank you very much, Trash Can Man. What would be the first step in learning advanced repairs of Macs? Watch my playlist. I have 600 videos. There's a MacBook component level logic board repairs playlist on this channel. When you click on my channel and then you go to playlists, and there's 600 videos in it. Watch them. And also, there on the board repair videos, there's a beginner's guide in the description. Click on the beginner's guide and read through it. Take some time, and take it in steps. Don't try to read everything. And then buy some broken machines from somewhere that are 8 or 9 years old, and just start messing with it. See if you could figure some stuff out, and go back to the videos. And when you're not able to figure it out, or when you hit a wall, go play a game of Warcraft. Go for a run. Go to the gym. Go out with your friends, and then come back to it. Make time for it. Just make time for it, and then put your time in. Then go do something else. Then make time for it. And what you really need to do is you need to learn with low pressure, and you'll learn with no pressure if you don't need to learn it right now. You'll figure it out when you figure it out. And if you don't figure it out, you come back to the shelf a week later and see if you figure it out then. I design and sell electronic products for flight simulators. What's the best way to provide a schematic and a board view to a customer? Upon request? If you're asking what format should it be provided in, I have no idea. Again, that's not my expertise. I really primarily work on one type of product where I see one type of schematic and board view. I don't have a lot of experience there. Speak with Paul Daniels in the Rossmann Repair Discord about board view formats that work with his view or open board view, because it's really cool. Sunny Death, $9. Thank you. I was watching your imposter syndrome video. I was thinking of passing you some advice. Check Belbin or Myers-Briggs. They can help you team build. Do you think Tim Cook will ever call you? No, because I have not properly started a dialogue. I was aggravated at the fact that it seemed like we were being ignored and stepped on for a very long period of time. So I started a dialogue by yelling and saying this is bullshit and blah, blah, blah. And I think that was needed because this conversation wasn't moving forward at all until, a New York City kind of brash asshole came in and started yelling and talking about this shit in this different way. But at the same time, it makes it really difficult to be able to have an actual conversation. And I want to be clear here for the future. If I were ever actually invited to a meeting at Apple, I'd be more than happy to, put on my... to put on the personality that I have when I'm dealing with business as usual at my store and when I'm speaking with in business arrangements. I'd be more than happy to put on, to start fresh, to wipe the table and start anew and actually speak to them and compromise and really try to understand what their concerns are. And I would want to work with them on their concerns to build something better. Because at the end of the day, it's not all fuck Apple, fuck Apple, fuck Apple. It's what can we do that's best for the consumer? And there's millions of consumers that love your products. How can we work together to ensure that consumers have a better experience when they need a repair of your product, while simultaneously ensuring that it doesn't damage your reputation and it doesn't damage your market cap and your market value? And I think that it's possible to do that. Let's work together to figure out how. I'd be more than happy to do that. What type of laws would you support to cut real estate costs to better facilitate small business and affordable living? That's a great question. I would need more understanding of the law. That's a very good question. I actually reached out to a lot of real estate property managers and real estate moguls about 3 years ago, and I said, I have a channel with about 500,000 subscribers, and it seems like we're becoming a lot more socialist now. You have people that identify as socialists getting elected to Congress, and they don't really seem to like landlords, and usually most of the stuff out there in the press is anti-landlord. I would like to speak to you, and I'd like to ask you some questions, and I'd like to really learn from your point of view what it is that causes what they are complaining about, because I don't believe that this is just this one-sided one-sided thing where you guys are all evil. I'd really like to hear from you. I'd like to hear you out. I'd like to hear your side of the story. I'd like to hear, what you think of these issues. And I contacted about 40 or 50 different places. Some I showed up in person, some I emailed, some I phone called. I never heard back from any of them, which is why I've just kind of come to the assumption that what they're doing is fucked up, corrupt, and evil. If you don't wish to provide any explanation when someone's coming at you, not looking to twist your words, is open that they're not going to, trickily edit your stuff. I'm not looking for that 30-second soundbite that makes you look bad. I want a long-form conversation where I can really hear your side of the story and none of you speak up. I don't know. Well, when it comes to law, there's a lot of crap. I mean, obviously, getting anything done in New York City is a nightmare. I don't really know if it's a specific... I honestly wouldn't know the law without experiencing it. It's mostly the way that laws are enforced. When do you think the housing bubble is going to crash? I wish I knew. If I knew, I'd be able to short it. I have no idea. I would say, my guess as not a financial advisor would be 2 or 3 more years. But again, when it comes to this, so for instance, let's say me selling laptops. So I no longer sell laptops in my store. Why? Because the Department of Consumer Affairs came in and they took a law that exists. They took the most disingenuous reading of that law that they're not even willing to tell me, and they used that to fine me. So that license expires in 3 days. I didn't renew it. Fuck the Department of Consumer Affairs. I'm not selling devices anymore. What's a strong opinion you had when you were young that you find ridiculous now? When I said that I remember telling my parents in an edgy way, I'd rather kill myself than work on electronics or computers for a living. I want to do what I enjoy, not what I'm good at. And I wanted to pursue my passion. I was never passionate about this. I don't have a fucking passion for soldering, and I don't have a passion for reading schematic diagrams. So that was a very edgy thing to say, and I was trying to be edgy when I said it. And I was trying to make a point, but it was bullshit. But yeah, like that. It's not the law itself that's the problem. It's the way city government works and makes things a nightmare here in particular. And like when you're building a new space, when you're putting together a new store, when you're trying to change over from a restaurant to a store to a restaurant, how difficult does the city make that? I would be very curious, and I'd like to understand their concerns. If there's a law that's causing this, if there's a specific misuse of certain laws that's causing it, I would really love to know. And I tried reaching out to lots of real estate management agencies because I wanted to hear their side of the story. I wanted to hear the opposition. One of the things even with John Deere and Right to Repair, I read like 5 or 6 pages of stuff from someone who seemed to be against a lot of the Right to Repair platform that worked at John Deere. I want to hear what you have to say. But if none of you are going to speak, then I'm just going to assume you're evil. Dark Forces Jedi funded $1. Thank you. Would you run for a political position? No, because I don't hate myself that much. What would happen is people would ascribe things to me that I did not say. They would slander me based on all different types of shit, and they would turn me into somebody who's evil because I disagreed with them. That's what we do nowadays. What we do is we don't observe that people can have nuanced opinions and disagree. What we do is if someone disagrees with us, we pretend that they are not just that one opinion they have. We ascribe a bunch of other evil shit to them. And then we hate them and cast them out of society based on it. I don't want anything to do with that. I don't hate myself enough to be in politics. I really don't. I do not hate myself enough to do that. Also, a lot of politics nowadays is people wanting to hear their belief systems mirrored back to them over and over again. They want to be pandered to. I think a lot of people want to be pandered to. I don't think a lot of people want to deal with the actual root cause of a lot of problems. They don't want to deal with complex problems and address them as complex problems. They want to have ideological oversimplifications and pretend that those ideological oversimplifications are the cause of everything. And I don't want to engage in that. I don't want to do that. I think it's unhealthy, but I think that's where politics is going to go for the next 20 to 40 years. Have you watched his video? Yes, I have, and I left a comment on it. Thank you very much, Bill. Imposter growing up, going through the struggle, building a life and business. When do you think you started to feel really happy? Really feel happy? Ooh, that's a good one. Let's see what we got. It's a good question. I will get back to you on that. What is your take on real estate value not being about the space's ability to make money, but what account can manipulate market numbers in a spreadsheet? I mean, I think that has a lot to do with why you have so many vacant spaces that are overvalued. And again, that is not sustainable. That's not sustainable. That's not going to stay that way. A lot of people are going to lose a lot of money who are invested in it, and it has to happen. Moving away from Boston to Dallas, Texas. Too expensive. I can't vote in Massachusetts next year. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you. Let's see. When did I truly... I think I truly felt happy with what I was doing in 2009, the summer of 2009. I felt the most free. Summer of 2009, because I got to be on my own. I was living on my own, working for my own company, building my own dream. And it was so weird because I had, at most times I had anywhere from $500 to $2,000 in the bank, and that was my entire net worth. I had no assets, yet I felt so excited because I had made that for myself. What do you think of the recent ban on gaming PCs that occur in California and several other states that limits power consumption at devices? It's weird because, well, firstly, I haven't read the entire thing yet, so I don't know if it's a ban just yet. But if it is what the headlines say it is, and I very rarely trust headlines without reading them and at least 3 other sources to corroborate the bullshit that I read, let's say you have 3 low-power PCs versus 1 high-powered PC. Like, is this really going to save on electricity? Is there, because it gets into this weird question. It really does get into a weird question, which is, okay, I'm not allowed to buy a high-powered gaming PC, but I'm allowed to have 2 or 3 air conditioner window units in my home. Like one is a lot worse than the other. It's very strange. Like, where do we draw the line in terms of how we deal with limit carbon emissions while not limiting freedom? Lewis, love your content. Thoughts on the newest latest regression or remandating masks for fully vaccinated people? It's getting exhausting. I don't think it's going to do much. I mean, and even in New York, which is very liberal, very pro-mask, very pro, let's actually slide notes under Lewis's store door while he's open, calling him a piece of shit for staying open, which did fucking happen last April once or twice. Fucking cunts. But he was very, very liberal. And you see so many people that use the mask as a chin bra, or they have the mask like this, or like this, and you could see the upper lip while they're talking. And like virtually I'm not keeping up with GameStop and AMC. The last video I did on that in the beginning of February was it for me. I gave my opinion on that when I thought that they went full memento, and that was it from there. Now, the thing that gets me, like, virtually every group you have a scatter pattern. You have one person wearing a mask like this, another person wearing a mask like this, another person wearing a mask like this, another person wearing a mask like this, then a person that's not wearing it at all, then somebody that's wearing it but they're like pulling it so while they talk, which makes it completely useless. The general public doesn't really understand how to wear it. And people, you combine that with mask fatigue based on the amount of time that has passed, and I don't know how much it's going to wind up doing. I believe that people who actually wear them properly, that would do something. But I don't see. I live here, and I don't see people wearing them properly on a regular basis. How many Karen's gyms survived COVID? I know that at very least one of them closed from one of my videos. I know that at the very least one of them is closed. Looked like they had a gift shop downstairs though. But the thing that how do I put this? I remember I was taking a CPR AED class, and the teacher said, "You may think you know how to wash your hands, but most adults don't know how to wash their hands." And she had us wash our hands, and then she pointed out there was only one person in the entire course that actually knew how to wash their hands properly. And she was going over how these are just basic things that she needed to teach us before she could actually teach us how to be a lifeguard. Do you think patents prevent third-party companies from manufacturing and selling parts? Or are there other obstacles to reverse engineering parts? So far, it's mostly been fear, and they haven't been able to tell me. But when I say, I need a chip, so here's a chip, I need you to reverse engineer this, and I give them one page of the schematic, and I say, and they'll usually ask, what is this going to? And when I tell them, they stop speaking to me. So I can't tell you exactly what it is, because I don't know. Because every time I ask someone this, they wind up just getting scared and running away entirely. And I don't know what the cause of the fear is. That could be part of it. Yeah, and the thing is, virtually nobody knows how to wear one. People that I know that I'm good friends with have it constantly falling below the nose. And to me, it just seems like the easiest thing in the world to just wear it up here and not have it fall. It seems like a very easy adjustment to make. But a lot of people really they fundamentally can't figure it out, or they're not interested in it. And I don't understand if it's a lack of intelligence problem or a lack of motivation problem. I think it's a lack of motivation, because I think that if you showed people the pictures of people dying of Ebola, and people thought that COVID was Ebola, and they thought that the mask protected them rather than it just stopping you from giving it to somebody else, I think they'd care. I think the reason nobody cares about wearing a mask properly is because the messaging has been wearing a normal mask or wearing a surgical mask doesn't protect you. It just slightly lowers the chance of you spreading COVID to somebody else. And it really just kind of shows you the selfishness in general in society. Because if a mask protected you, and if COVID were as bad for you as Ebola, then I think people would figure out how to wear them properly rather than wear them the way they do. Most people that I see, even in New York, they wear masks the way that kids deal with headphones in school, you know? You're not supposed to have your headphones visible ever in high school. You're not supposed to. But everyone has them here. When you have them here, it's easy to, like, put it over here. From here, it's easy to put it over here. Or just, have a little earbud that's going up your head and like this, and then the teacher can't see it. Like, there's so many ways to pretend you're wearing a mask that if somebody yells at you, it's right there, but then you take it right off when somebody's not looking or when the teacher's not looking. The general behavior that we have in society, cash or buy. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes, sunny death. It depends on if stock goes up in housing, and it also depends on interest rates going up. Send interest rates to 20%. You'll see this housing market slow down real quick. But anyway, just wanted to say that you're a hero to me. No, please don't have heroes and idols, especially not me. Don't idolize people, because what you're going to do someday, what you're going to do is you're going to figure out that I'm a piece of shit, just like every other human being on earth that has fears and anxieties and jealousies, jealousness to them, and who makes horrible mistakes, and then or disagrees with you on basic fundamentals that you thought I wouldn't disagree with you on. And then you're going to hate me, and then you're going to hate what I stand for. And what I stand for, I think, is actually a good cause. I like right to repair. I think it's a good set of philosophies and principles. But if you associate it with me and you look up to me, it just gets very dirty very quick. I'm not... thank you for not being left to right, but using common sense. My hat is off to you. I don't know. I think I have my biases. I definitely have biases. I don't know if don't pretend that I'm neutral or common sense on any of this stuff. I'm very biased. What was my point on this? So what I see with mask wearing is I see the way that people comply with it is very similar to how people complied with headphones in high school, which is, what can I get away with? How much can I get away with? And I'm always going to constantly be pushing it. And even if I'm told that I'm not supposed to have it, I'll only listen to it until I'm told again. It's very similar. And I don't have faith on the general public being, like, in the beginning, I think I had more faith in the general public, but now I really don't. I think it's going to be one of those, like, it's here to stay and live with. You really think it wouldn't be that hard a thing to do? I've never seen a picture of somebody in South Korea or Japan or Taipei wearing a mask below the nose or wearing it like this so that you could see like a chin bra. Never seen that. But you see it in America. Hello from Ireland. Any comments on the incoming Facebook metaverse? I don't know what a Facebook metaverse is. Short-term objective seems to be AR workstations. I don't know what a Facebook metaverse is, and I feel really bad because he gave me $5 to ask me a question on something that I don't understand. How's Right to Repair fundraising going? Very well. So we haven't raised enough to do a ballot initiative. That's kind of off the table because the deadline for that is a few days from now. And that's pretty much off the table. Like, I did not raise enough to do a ballot initiative. What I did raise enough to do is to hire a lobbyist in every state where Right to Repair is an issue in the United States for the next 3 years. And that's big. That's big. And I'm in the process of coming up with a nationwide lobbying strategy. And I'm in the process of interviewing lobbyists. I already have one for one state. Don't want to say what it is because I'm not liked in that state. And I don't want people to know and get to work already. But I'm very excited. Do you invest at all? Yes. Tuned in at the hero rant. Perfect point. I do. Sometimes it goes up. Sometimes it goes down. Is what it is. All right. What do we have here? Let's see how much I missed. How much have I missed? I'm not going to learn how to run a unicycle. Are we supposed to listen to do with a Christmas tree in July? Do you listen to people that take their Christmas trees down? You're insane. Thanks for what you do. Maybe you blessed with many happy boards. Also, do you like milk? If so, what kind? I don't really like or dislike milk, honestly. As long as you're not a communist, I'll listen. I'm not a communist. I understand what motivates people to extremism, to where they embrace it, though, but I am not one. But I understand the elements of society that cause people to be pushed towards extremism. My sister forgot her password from iPhone 5C that was purchased by me on eBay. Not by me. Jessa has some tool for that, I think. I think she has a tool for that. Some super expensive crazy shit. I don't have that. Like, I'd love to say I could, but I don't know. I would ask Jessa. Jessa Jones at iPad Rehab. I don't know if it works on older phones. I don't know if it works on newer ones. I think it works on older ones. I don't know how it works. I also don't know if she's allowed to use it on you if it's not a law enforcement case. But I would ask Jessa Jones at iPad Rehab that question. She's better fit to answer that than me. Thoughts on the CDC saying mask back on again? I think I just answered that one. I think the message may have shown up late, or maybe you just showed up here. But yeah, I think I just gave my thought on that. What are your thoughts on the rise of stupidity in America? I don't think there's a rise in stupidity in America. I think that intelligence has been going up over the past 100 to 200 to 300 years. It's just that we now have the ability to see the stupid that already existed because everybody can give their opinion. Anybody can upload a YouTube video. It's not just, Walter Cronkite or something or that can show up on television. It's not anybody can show up on a radio, not just, specific individuals. So it's really easier to see the stupidity that exists in society. But I think that we are trending toward a smarter society overall. What if New York City doesn't need retail to ever come back? How could you imagine a successful New York City in the future if rents never go down? I don't see a successful New York City in the future if rents never go down unless what happens is it just becomes a complete corporate dystopia where only very, very expensive businesses can afford to be there and only super rich people can afford to live here. But if only super rich people can afford to live here, then the people who are being pushed out are eventually going to retaliate, and you are going to have a dystopian society with insanely high crime. Because you'll have super rich people right next to super poor people and no in between, and there'll be resentment and aggravation and not good. What was the result of your relocation research coming to Texas? I'll be visiting Texas shortly, but I have not even remotely close to done with that. I have to take a lot more trips. There's a lot more trips that I got to do, but first I really want to get this whole teaching workshops at the store situated, and I want to get it set up so that I'm not there, and and that's going to take a little bit of time. And once that is done, then I'll feel more comfortable doing more traveling. Thank you for your work on Right to Repair. Finally, something being done with it. Any idea how long it will take with the FTC? Are you asking me to speculate on how long it'll take government to do something? Oh, I know you don't expect the real answer to that question from me. There's no way in hell. I can't answer that. You ever see that Thomas Sowell interview where he says like he was 18 or 19 years? He's like 91 years old now, and he asked when he was 18 or 19 years old. He sent his request up to the Department of Agriculture, Department of Labor, and he sent his message. And he said in his interview when he was 90, he's like, and to this day I patiently await their reply. And he laughs, but like that's yeah. Would you consider age or experience a prerequisite toward speaking about Right to Repair? Not really. Oh. Any advice for budding students sympathetic to the cause? Get people involved. Get people interested. Ask them, try to identify with people where they are. Don't be a Greta Thunberg. Honestly, that's all I could say. Like, I know I'm going to get shit for this. Just don't be a Greta Thunberg. Like, try to identify with people where they are. So, ask your parents or ask people around you, like, just out of curiosity, when you were a kid, how did you go about fixing things? Or like, what happened when your radio broke as a kid? What happened when your TV broke as a kid? What happened when your air conditioner broke as a kid? How do you think things should be now? How do you think things are now? What do you think of how things are now? Ask open-ended questions that kind of lead people towards seeing your viewpoint. Don't go up there and go, how dare you? Because even if you're actually right about something, it puts people off and it creates a culture war. And once you've turned something into a culture war, there's no winning or losing. There's only losing when something becomes a culture war, because I've never read A Brave New World, no, but I've had a lot of people suggest to me that I should. Also, say hello to Mr. Klim. Once something becomes a culture war, there's no winners and there's only losers, because you've now hardened people into their positions. And the thing that makes culture wars such a failure is that people actually don't care about the issue being discussed anymore. They just hate you. So what they do is they look for any reason whatsoever to discredit you. Not because they feel like you're attacking them as an individual. You're attacking them as a human being. It's not even about what you believe anymore. It becomes an us versus them thing, and there's nothing you could ever say at that point to convince someone of something. So make sure you don't come off in a way that creates a culture war. Any famous customers ever come into your store? Yes, I've had this happen before several times. And I can't tell you who they are. But yes, famous people do not use certified Apple repair stores because famous people need their data. That's right. Famous people sometimes forget to back shit up. I get all these comments from people that are like, I can't believe it. Haven't they ever heard of a backup? It's like, you elitist scumbag mofo. Yes, there is someone out there that forgot to do a backup. You've forgotten something at some point in your life. Stop being such an elitist little prick because that pretends that you've never made a mistake. You've definitely made mistakes before. Get the fuck out of here. But yes, famous people have made mistakes. Famous people have needed their shit back before. I'm glad that the Oculus headset made the bike video seem real. I'm the potato of prosperity. What's a potato of prosperity? What the hell? We never had issues with dentists, doctors, and vets wearing masks wrong. Now all of a sudden they can't wear it right. I mean, no, they wear it right. It's just the general public doesn't. Like, just like my CPR AED instructor had to teach us how to wash our hands. This was a room filled with adults, and she had to teach us, here's how you wash your hands. Like, it actually had to be instilled in us. And until that was instilled in us, everybody did it wrong. I love the frail-sounding voice you do in mocking the anti-right to repair people. Your favorite YouTube content creator, keep it up. Thank you. It's actually based on... I can't tell you who it's based on because they could be watching, and if they're watching, they know where I live, and they're going to come kill me. But I don't know if she still has my apartment keys. I hope she doesn't. But yeah, it's based on a real person. I'll leave it at that. It's based on a real person who may or may not still have a copy of my apartment keys. Any advice for a 21-year-old with nothing exciting to live for? You got to find something that gives you a sense of purpose. I know, it sounds cheesy as hell. I don't really. The thing for me, the thing that hurts me about that question is my sense of purpose was found by accident. I wanted to work on loudspeakers, so I got it. I got an internship as an audio engineer, but audio engineering means working on music, not loudspeakers, and I was an idiot, so I didn't know the difference. So then I got a... Do you think that one day all cars will be electric? Yes. Either electric or nuclear powered. I think every car will have some sort of nuclear cell in it that you don't have to recharge until 4 or 5 years, and you'll just drive based on that once people overcome their fear of nuclear. Either that or electric, but electric has a long way to go. And what I think is... Then there was that. Then I wasn't good with people because I'm not a people person, and also I'm not a musician, so I became a tech in that. But I wanted to kind of get better on the music side, so I was working with a producer on his stuff. So I needed to buy a MacBook so I could use Logic once the place went out of business, and I got one in the mail that was broken, so I tried to fix it. What did you have for dinner? For dinner, I had a wrap that Erica made me. It was chicken, jalapenos, mayonnaise, tomato, I think Swiss cheese, spinach wrap. And it was an accident. The thing is, I just spent years bumbling around until I found something. Really, the story of my life is just throwing shit at the wall until I figure out what sticks. And you got to do that for yourself. But it means going out there and doing something that you may feel you're overqualified for, or that you don't. And you have to figure out where you fit in the world. Once you have a sense of purpose, you won't really think about that shit so much. I'm going to college and need a device and what to look for in a laptop. Should I consider a Windows laptop or try out a MacBook? That is based on your personal preference, and I don't know what your personal preferences are, so I can't really answer that for you. Obviously, I have my personal preference, which is I don't want to own a MacBook, but that may not be yours. Have you tried out the ThinkPad T520? I like the track point layout and the keyboard layout in the ThinkPad T520. Google is giving free certification for digital marketing. Should I go with FBook digital marketing certification or get both? Trying to get a job at Best Buy. Why do you need a certification for digital marketing to get a job at Best Buy? And also, why are you getting a certification to get some shit-paying job at Best Buy? You don't get a certification in digital marketing. Fuck that. Digital marketing is so boring. You don't need a certification for that. Thank you for the entire traditional method of advertising, in my opinion, doesn't work well, and I think my channel is proof of that. Thank you for what you do, making me laugh at some of your videos. Thank you, Selvin11. For instance, what Apple motherboard repair company is one of the best known in the U.S.? Mine. Do I have traditional marketing? Nothing about me is traditional marketing. It's the exact opposite of it. People are tired of traditional marketing. Don't get certified to do the stuff that people hate. People don't like being marketed to. They don't like feeling like they're being marketed to. Don't pay to get a certification. Don't spend time to get a certification in something that makes people feel like they're being manipulated. And that's just my opinion. It's a controversial one, but it is mine. You should hear the ridiculous stories of Lizzie having to tell parents of dying children in the hospital to wear a mask, even around their own kids. I think selfishness is the key point. That could be it. But, here's the thing, Daniel Smullen. I've met people that do that, and in their own lives, here's the weird thing, Daniel, and this is the thing that I've noticed. I have a senior capstone project that I need to do this year, and I want to make it about right to repair since I have a general interest in technology. I don't know a lot about it. Do you have any tips on where to start educating myself more? watch the Introduction to Right to Repair for Curious People on my channel. It's a 1-year-old video, Introduction to Right to Repair for Curious People, and go from there. For the soldering and repair events have you looked into doing similar events at local high schools? No, I have not. I would actually go out of my way to avoid doing them at high schools because I don't want to be involved with the liability and all the other crap that's likely involved to be able to do them in a school. And I also don't want to do them in a high school because kids are forced to be in high school, and I don't want to deal with people in a forced environment. So people they're not making the choice to be in high school. They're fucking locked in there 6 hours a day. My high school had bars in the window, actual bars in the window. God forbid someone actually be able to fucking escape. And they had someone waiting at the door with that looked like a policeman that would tell you can't leave if you wanted to leave. I want to deal with people that want to be there, which means I'm not doing it in a high school. Just wanted to say the technical videos will not get as many views, but people who do watch them are getting a lot of it based on own experience. Very cool. Yeah, so Daniel Smolin, what I've noticed is that people who are very, I'll think, okay, you must be a selfish person, but a lot of people that I know that are not open to doing this, some of them are selfish pricks, but some of them are people that are insanely generous and considerate in many areas of their life. They just can't get the fucking mask to go over their nose. They're very considerate, very generous. Just can't get that one thing figured out. I'm in the market for a recliner. Any advice, brand, feature to look for? Long-term comfort. Go to a store and sit in the recliner, but don't sit in the recliner for a minute or two. Sit for 45 minutes. This one looks very comfortable. When you sit in it for a half hour or 45 minutes, you really want to just jump out of it, which is totally different from the rocking chair that I had as a kid. Long-term is important. I love you for saying that everyone has a bias. Own up to the bias. Yep, I definitely have a bias. And I know where it comes from. I enjoy watching your repair videos the last 4 years. I'm currently working towards becoming a hardware engineer. Keep it up. Well, you'll probably get much further than me if you're becoming a hardware engineer. That's the next stage after being board janitor. I look forward to you winning. That's exactly what happens with the culture war thing 100%. Yeah, again, anything that you care about. If there's a cause you care about, you want to think ahead of time on how to avoid it becoming a culture war. Do you own any Bitcoin? Thanks for the content. I owned Bitcoin, and I saw it go from... I got it for free. So, if I would never buy Bitcoin. I'm not buying any of that shit. But I got it for free, so I figured, okay, this is found money, so I will keep it. And it was at 6,000, it went to 9,000, then it went to 3, then it went to 20, then it went to 30, then it went to 40, then it went down. I set a stop loss at 30,500. I shit you not, it went down to 30,400 and then right back to 60. I know it's never going to fall below 30,500 because if it did that, it would mean that I sold at a good time, and I never sell at the right time. I also never buy at the right time. I also, I am not able to trade to save my life. So... so I don't have any Bitcoin at this point in time. I got stop lossed out of it in January or February or March of this year. I forget. One of those. Thinking about buying first electric bike, don't mind putting different parts together. Any advice would be appreciated. I have a video on my live channel. Just look on my live channel for EM3EV, a video with that in the title, and it shows you my bike. Also, go to ebikes.ca. That's ebikes.ca. Check out the folks at Grin. They're really amazing people. You may spend a little bit more on the bike, but you'll get really good support, and you'll know that everything you're getting is not knockoff shit or used or crap. It's really good stuff. It's good stuff. They're a good company. They're good people, and I don't get paid to say that. I don't get any discounts from them. I've never asked for a discount code from them. I would pay more money for something coming from them than another website because I know what I'm getting is good, and I know they're going to support it, and I know if I have any problem, I can message them, and they give real answers. They know their products. Any plans to travel abroad ever? I don't have any plans to travel abroad, no, but I am going to look around. Did you vote for AOC? AOC is not my district, so I don't have a choice to vote for AOC or not. I would disdain the day when no more combustion engines exist. Nah, that's because you're attached to the technology. When something else comes out, you'll be happy. Do you disdain the fact that you cannot buy a new 286? Probably not. Probably too happy using a real computer. Are you still looking to move out of New York? Yes, I'd like to travel the country a little bit more, but I have a stopgap here because I want to build up this class thing that I'd like to do in New York City, and that's going to be that's going to take a little bit of effort and time to do. Have you been in Gatlinburg, Tennessee yet? I've only visited Nashville. I visited that to speak to some politicians about right to repair for agriculture and tractors back in 2017. I enjoyed my time in Nashville, but I didn't get to see the rest of Tennessee. I recall you making a video about the framework repairable laptop a few months ago. Now that it's out and has sold out its first batch, what are your current thoughts on it? Are you considering buying one? No, because I already have a laptop, and my laptop is not dead, so I have no reason to spend $2,000 on another one. It seems like they've changed their stance on giving schematics to repair shops, which I highly respect, and I really do wish them the best with what they're doing. I will eat crow on my first video. They were not virtue signaling. They actually meant what they were saying. I have a repair shop in Chicago with right to repair horror stories. Can you interview shops around the country on YouTube to show our shops are hurting because we can't get parts? Email me at contact@fighttorepair.org. That's contact@fighttorepair.org. I'd love to have you on the channel for an interview. FIGHTTOREPAAR.org. Contact@fighttorepair.org. Wouldn't it be cool if we could somehow upgrade our devices with plug-and-play parts? It would allow people to customize devices the way they see fit. That would be cool. Electric cars are not the solution. Multimodal transport is the solution, redefining the way cities are built. I've had enough of the MTA. You know, like, yeah, maybe, but no, fuck that. I get what people say. Like, look at how pretty Japan's system is. And it's like, yeah, but they're a different culture. They're a different culture. They're a different country. They think differently about treating the place that they live in like shit. It's not New York. Like, the way Japanese people treat Japan is not the way people in New York treat New York. And I've kind of fucking had it up to here with public transportation. I took public transportation for 17, 18 years. Like, nah, I've had enough. I'll ride a little fucking electric bike that, you know, hurts my balls when I go over bumps before I take a train again. What's the nicest way to... Son of a bitch. Why doesn't that show up longer? One second. I'm going to find that. I ain't falling off the treadmill. I'm not falling off the treadmill. One second. What's the nicest way to quit a job? I was offered a higher paying position elsewhere, but I don't want my current employer to feel I'm upset. Tell them, listen, I found something else. I don't want to leave you on the hook, but I also got to move on with my life. I really appreciate what you did here. Thank you, Aziz. I really appreciate you giving me this job. I appreciate you giving me the chance to learn at this company and grow at this company, but I got to get moving on with my life. How can I make it easy for you moving on? You want me to help you train the next person? How long would you need me to stay on? Really, in those situations, the nicest thing you can do is put the ball in their court. And then don't force your opinion unless they force you. If they say, well, no, the best thing you can do is stay. Don't take that job. Always put the ball in their court. Always make it their problem. Why is this your problem? Make it their problem. Okay, you want me to stay? Then, okay, if you want me to stay and not move on my life, how are you going to make it worth my while? Or, if you want me to stay, what are the terms that would be okay to you? And then we'll see if they're okay to me. What is it about the screwdrivers from iFixit that makes it seem like they have nice personalities? Don't make me say it. I like Kyle at iFixit. I got some early iFixit toolkits, like from back in the day. Back when, like, it was almost like a one-time use only because the bits would strip, you know, after one or two uses. But, okay, A, he gives a lifetime warranty on them, and B, I'm confident shit's changed in 10 years. But yeah. I like him. Don't make me... Don't remind me of, like, the fucked up shit I've said about iFixit screwdrivers. I feel bad. Now you made me feel guilty. I'm sure they're better now. We actually bought some for the workstations for the store. And they've been used twice and they still work, so. Wrong answer. I'm an audio sound system master. Go Team SVT. I don't even know what you're talking about. We haven't talked about sound systems here at all. I'm generally curious why you don't refer to the track point as a clip mouse as it was originally called. Track point is more upper class. Clip mouse is so lowbrow. For the soldering and events you've been doing, have you looked at this? Oh, yeah, I answered that one. I did make this comment. New York City is overrated. Kind of, but then again, there's a lot of opportunity. I'll give it that. Like, again, me opening my repair shop here, like, I know that I would not have had the success that I had here if I opened up in Lumberton, North Carolina, or Custer, South Dakota. And there's nothing, again, like, nothing wrong with Custer. Okay, there's a lot wrong with Lumberton. But nothing wrong with Custer, South Dakota. It's just there's less people. There's not as much stuff. There's not as like here. You're servicing 30 devices a day. You have so much opportunity to get experience. You have so many people throwing money at you that if you're willing to put in 12 or 14 hours a day of work, there's 12 to 14 hours a day of work there for you. That's what I give New York. If you want to hustle, you can hustle here, and I'm not doing a hot tub stream. If you want to, if you're willing to work your balls off, you can work your balls off here to build something. It's just I'm starting to get towards the part where, like, while I have some non-gray hair left, I would like to leave. How does one overcome the fear of starting your own business? There was one time this fear wasn't important, but commitments are now heavy. Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's difficult to start a business once you have commitments. I mean, I started my business. I didn't live with my parents. I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't have kids. I didn't really have any commitments. You may want to reevaluate starting a business if you have commitments in terms of family and people to take care of. I saw on your channel the video about New Jersey's situation. I'm a high schooler from Fort Lee. What do you think about New Jersey's future, and what do you think of Fort Lee? I think Fort Lee is a ridiculously overpriced place for what it is. It's a very nice neighborhood. The people there are very nice. The shops are very nice. Like, it's nice. It's not like my neighborhood where, like, my girlfriend goes out and she walks around for 5 minutes and people are telling her, what the fuck is this Asian doing in my neighborhood? It's actually a nice place. It's just a middle-class home is $800,000 to $900,000 there, and it doesn't seem like you get your money's worth. Will you run more repair sessions? I want to bring my 4G iPod and reflow pins. Called a while back, was quoted 100, want to try the repair myself. Yes, I'll be doing more of them, and I already announced at the beginning of this video that there's more of them. Yeah, there are more of them. It's July 29th at 4 p.m. and July 31st at 2 p.m. at the store. I don't open iPods, so just to be clear, if you bring it, you got to open that shit yourself. I haven't opened an iPod, and actually I haven't opened an iPod like ever, I don't think. So, yeah, you got to open that shit yourself. But if you want to try reflow pins, you're welcome to. When God set for there to be appropriation to what? What, saved by faith in blood? Blood? I don't get it. I'll take your money, but I don't get it. Blood? What? Blood? Why blood? Speaking of gray hair, what's your ideal retirement? My ideal retirement is reaching a point in life where I own my home and I've own it without a mortgage, and I have enough that I could pay the property tax on it for the rest of my life, so that I know that regardless of how much I fail through life, that I'll always have a place to come back to, and I'll always be able to afford to pay for food. Because I'm a type of person that likes to take large risks, and sometimes those risks lead to me being seen as a hero. Sometimes those risks lead to me being seen as a giant fuck-up who ruined everything. Sometimes those risks make a lot of money. Sometimes those risks lose a lot of money. Sometimes those risks I take wind up helping tens of thousands of people in tangible ways that you could see and appreciate. Sometimes those risks I take lead to me screwing over dozens of people and feeling horrible about it. And I want to have the freedom to be able to pursue those things. So retirement for me is not the end of work. Retirement for me would be, I have enough money that even if I fuck things up, I'm set for the rest of my life. I don't have to worry and have this stress of how am I going to live indoors. This new UKCA mark as a result of Brexit could probably negatively affect one's ability to buy new parts. One of the many benefits of Brexit to come. Love what you're doing. Greetings, UK. It's one of these things about Brexit is whether you're someone who wanted Brexit to happen or didn't want Brexit to happen, it seems like it seems like nobody is happy with the result of it. Very few people seem to be happy with the way things are going. Greetings from Chicago. Did you see Windows 11 as a way to bring planned obsolescence, otherwise perfectly working but dated hardware? Yes, and I really don't think... What does Windows 11 offer that really makes it worth upgrading? Like, the difference between Windows 7 and 10 was most people just... They didn't care. Like, 10 wasn't that amazing enough to make it worth getting rid of Windows 7. Maybe the better anti-alias fonts. But I still know a lot of people that use Windows 7 that haven't upgraded, and I think that's going to be the case here. Especially if you say that new machines won't work with it. You're going to break the inertia there. Microsoft needs to convince people that it's worth breaking the inertia. Going from Windows 7 to 10 for many people, it didn't even cost them any money. Going from Windows 10 to 11, if it doesn't work on their hardware, ugh. How did you meet Erica? Erica, can I tell the truth or do I have to make something up?
Make something up.
Okay, so she said I could tell the truth.
No.
So I met Erica in one of the worst places to meet someone on Earth. I met Erica in pretty much the worst place to meet another person. The YouTube comment section. I met Erica in a YouTube comment section. I actually read all my comments.
You do?
Well, not anymore. I get 18,000 comments a day now. When I met Erica, I read all my comments. I think at that point I was only at 3,000 to 5,000 comments a day. Okay, I don't get any of this stuff. I really don't. Like, I get all the blood, like, the flesh and the blood and the what? Again, I'll take your $10. I'll take your $10, but I really don't know what any of that means. I appreciate your $10, but I have no idea what all that means. For the life of flesh is in the, like, what's with all the blood? Why this obsession with blood? There's so many certifications, 4 different jobs. Where do I start? You don't need a certifications to fix computers. That's a fucking waste of time. Again, if you're working, if you're looking for some like $200,000 a year job working on some crazy specialized equipment, fine, get a certification. Fix computers and laptops, get the fuck out of here with certifications. No. Printing managed services are pretty mainstream in the enterprise market. This makes it much more difficult for people to repair their stuff. Printing managed services are pretty mainstream. This makes it much more difficult. How does printing managed services have any... I'm just sorry. I feel bad because you gave $5, but I'm very confused on that question. I don't understand the statement or the question. Printing managed services are mainstream, therefore it's hard to repair? I'm very confused there. I don't get it. Thank you for fighting for right to repair. As a mechanic, I know the struggle. Side note, have you looked into crypto like Hex? I think much of crypto is a consensual Ponzi scheme. I don't know when it will go up or down or why it will go up or down. But when people talk about it as an investment, I don't understand it, and I try to avoid investing in things I don't understand. Like, they say it's digital money, but it's just... Like, if you invest in Exxon, you're investing in energy production and oil. If you invest in, I don't know, Plug Power, you're investing in some clean energy company, granted with a giant accounting scandals, but you're investing in somebody building something. You invest in Microsoft, you're investing in them building, I don't know, server operating systems and cloud shit like that. Love you, don't stop. Thank you. If you invest in real estate, or if you buy a house, you have something you could live in. If you invest in a company producing food, like you can see it, you can use it. It has worth to society. When you buy a cryptocurrency, it's like paper money. It's just the only difference is with fiat currency, they can just print as much as they want, whereas with certain cryptocurrencies, there's nobody there who can just start randomly inflating it. But the fundamental argument that it's based on nothing still exists, the same with fiat currency as it does with a lot of cryptocurrency. So again, with an investment, it's like you're investing in something that's building something that people actually use in a tangible way that affects their lives, versus just, it seems, cryptocurrency in general seems very made up. And I get it, people want to buy stuff. Like, I'm not saying it's not going to go up, because people, there's always somebody out there that thinks it's the next coming of Jesus that wants to buy it. I do watch AV, and I enjoy his content. I particularly enjoy his review of the BlendTech blender. Please convince my boyfriend that Motorola phones are better and more durable than Google Pixel phones. They are. I'm tired of him pestering me that I keep rebuying used old Motorola phones, because he says Motorola is worse than other Android phones. Hi, Dylan. Motorola phones are not worse than the Pixel phones. They are very durable. They last for a really long time, and they work very well. There's no problem with buying them. A working retirement is a good answer. Yeah, I'm definitely going to keep working. Just to me, retirement will be once I've passed the point where I live comfortably and I don't have to worry that if I lose my job or I fuck up my business or I do something horrible and I'm cast out by society because I do something horrible, or I like, let's say I make some giant fuck up, and because of that fuck up, I'm cast out by society and I can't get a job or something like that, that I'm set for life. I would consider that retirement. But I'd most certainly still want to keep working because I want to have a purpose in life. You know what? I'm going to keep taking your Jesus money, but I don't know what this stuff means. As it is written in the Torah, Jesus is the Lamb. We are saved by his blood, the tabernacle earth pattern for no one. And what? Yeah, listen, I'm not going to say no to the Jesus money, but I don't understand what that means. Printing services question is about big companies like Xerox and whatnot selling service and consumables via contract or lockdown. Oh, man, Xerox is like, okay, Xerox let Steve Jobs and all those people see the mouse, and like it's kind of weird. It's, when you cheat on somebody, and someone in your chat will not stop asking why your cat's named Mr. Clinton, so I'm speaking in answer on their behalf. I named him Mr. Clinton because he kept humping things when I got him. His original name was Thunder because he was loud, but I didn't like Thunder, so I named him Mr. Clinton. He's an adorable little kitty. Yeah, so Xerox is kind of like that girlfriend or that boyfriend that got cheated on once, so now they're jealous and hateful for the rest of their relationships for the rest of their life. Like, they were very open with the mouse and the GUI and all that, and now it's like, fuck, we missed our opportunity to make it big, so now we got to rip people off for the rest of our life. Yeah, I've met people that worked there, and I can't get into that too much, but like makes it hard for people to repair their own stuff without a contract with the manufacturer. Yeah, like the whole printer right to repair thing is not, like, with the enterprise printers, has not really been talked about much, but it is a big issue. Like, Xerox does a lot. Like, there's investigating to just to try to figure out if people are trying to fix their own stuff outside of contract and enforcement. It's freaky. It's like a Scientology level of freaky what Xerox does. I can't get into it too much because the person I spoke with spoke to me in confidence, so I can't reveal everything, but it's weird. Erica hasn't been on camera for a long time. More proof that she doesn't exist. Erica, people think you don't exist.
I don't exist. I'm fake. Oreo exists though. Handsome.
I like free PBX, Matt.
Oreo.
Oh, fuck you for spamming. No, you're out of here. Bye-bye. Copying and pasting bullshit. Let's see. Did Wozniak reply? He did not reply, but admittedly, I see what I fucked up. What I should have done is, instead of saying, hey, would you like to donate to this ballot initiative guy that I just met? What I should have said is, hey, would you like to be on the board of Repair Preservation Group? If I asked Steve Wozniak, hey, I'm looking to keep repair going and I need influences, I need direction. Would you be open to being on the board of Repair Preservation Group so that we can make this happen? That probably would have been the right thing to do. But I fucked up. I spilled the beans too soon. And that's probably because I'm awkward in relationships, but also because someone who gave an initial donation said that if I could get Steve Wozniak to put money in, that he would put money in. So I thought, shit, now I have to figure out a way to get Steve Wozniak to put money in, which is really, that was not the road that I should have went down. That was wrong. That was a YOLO that didn't go the way I thought it would. Admittedly, it was a YOLO. And like, the right thing to do there would have been, Steve, I respect what you do. You seem to respect what I'm doing. Would you be open to being on the board of Repair Preservation Group to make sure that I do the right things? That should have been the question that I had. But it's too late for that now because I kind of blew my load too soon. And I'm probably not going to get a chance to talk to him again. So it is what it is. I've gotten good at rebuilding laptops. Look for the next step. Do you have what would a strictly dis reassemble make? I feel bad because you donated money to me, but that doesn't seem like a sentence. Do you have what disassemble make? Yeah, I'm sorry. My brain can't process that. Might move to New York City due to work from Miami. What's your recommendation to not get a headache in the process? Don't go from Miami to New York City. You're like moving from one to another. The best way to not get a headache is to not let the people here get you down, and don't change who you are as a human being because everybody around you is stressed or angry or vengeful or aggravated or keeping to themselves or walking around with this anger. Don't let that get to you. Don't let that change who you are as a human being. Blood. Yes, Doug. Blood. Lots of blood. Love what you're doing for free enterprise. As a tri-state exile, I appreciate what you're going through. Your next shop is in Texas, trust me. Maybe. I don't know. Texas has too much 2% property tax going on. But I'm going to be visiting Texas because I want to visit the person who's going to be helping make whose grant is going to help make the free classes possible. Sell your shop for a few million and move to Haiti. Nobody's buying this shithole for a few million. I've gotten people that have talked to me about it, but it's not like it's always been those conversations where I kind of think you're just trying to get information out of me and you're not really serious about it. But nobody's buying my shop for a few $1 million. That's not happening. My business is not based on some stupid little fucking manual where you could just reproduce it everywhere. My business is based in the fact that I find people who are best in class and I pay those people enough money that you're probably not going to make the profit margin that you want to make on running this business unless you get rid of them and replace them with minimum wage people, at which point you don't have Rossmann Group, you have, you break, I fuck up everything, or any one of those other shithole shops that opens up around the country based on a shitty franchise model. Am I throwing money at anything in particular or just stuffing a pocket? Either way, thanks for all your videos and lobbying for right to repair. If you donate to Repair Preservation Group Action Fund, you're funding lobbying. If you super chat this channel, you're really just putting money into Lewis buying a burrito fund, if we're being. What do you think about the Framework laptop? I've answered that a few times in the stream. Do you like David Bowie? Yes, but I like the David Bowie that very few other people understand. I like black tie, white noise. I don't like all the like the hippie-ish 60s and 70s, you know, like soft rock kind of music he did. I like black tie, white noise. And you're not supposed to like that album. You're not supposed to like that album, but I love black tie, white noise. Especially that cover that he did, You've Been Around. It was a cover of some song that it was. You've Been Around, especially the way it ends. It's really, really good. Good stuff. Around 3 minutes in. Around 3 minutes into David Bowie's You've Been Around, dun 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 dun. Like, oh, it's awesome. You have to hear the song that he did the cover of. The song that he did the cover of sucks so bad, and he made it amazing. It's like it's so cool. He was a fucking talented dude, man. Shout out to Pure Storage, the most amazing sand NAS vendor in the world. I don't know if that's true. I'm just reading off my screen, but shout out made. Why'd you ruin everything? Because in order to do something amazing, you have to be willing to do something. And most people are not willing to do something because they're afraid of screwing up. And geniuses are typically not geniuses. The people that you think are geniuses, they're not geniuses. They're just people that were open to failing in ways that would have made them villains, but they're not villains because what they did was successful. I'm not a genius. I'm not a smart person. I'm not a nice guy. I'm not a good person. I took risks, and those risks just so happen to work out. So now people in my comment section will say, what are your thoughts on carbon bikes? Very expensive. I don't have a use for it because I'm just not that much of an enthusiast, but very expensive. But they're really cool. It's just very expensive. They're very lightweight, very expensive. But the thing is that I get all these comments saying, wow, you're such a good guy, or I look up to you, blah, blah, blah. No, you shouldn't look up to me. I'm a piece of shit. Bitcoin can't be stopped. We'll see about that. But I'm a piece of shit. Like, really, even if, let's say, I'm able to pay people in this. So at my store, for the higher end positions, I can pay people significantly better than CPR, Ubreak, iFix, or even any of the small business local competitors. I know what they pay people, and I pay better. Is that because I'm a good dude, or is that because I took risks that actually worked out that allowed me to have the profit margin that allowed me to pay them? It's the second one. I'm not a good person. I'm just a person that took risks. If those risks didn't go well, I would have been paying these people below minimum wage probably, or fired them all because nothing worked out. I flipped a coin. The coin landed on the right side. You know, I don't know. I'm not that great a human being. People shouldn't give me more credit than they do. People shouldn't give me the credit that they do. Love what you're doing for free enterprise, and as a tri-state exile, I appreciate what you're doing. Oh, I read that one already. Your board repair videos enabled me to get a dream job a decade before I planned. Hopefully this helps you inspire more people to achieve their career goals and win right to repair. Holy shit. Bunker Squirrel gave $200. That is way too much. I'm not worth that. I just gave you my speech on why I'm a piece of shit. Philip Knox, we are in the process of working that out. I'm giving it another shot. I'm giving that another shot. Where was I? I'm behind so much. I'm at 12 a.m. Are you still using FreePBX? Yes, I like FreePBX. It's a good software. I was supposed to do some videos for Sangoma, and that was right around the time that I was doing lobbying and COVID happened. I feel so bad. I fucked them over so horribly. They made me an offer. I agreed to the offer, and then I wound up reneging on it. Not even because it wasn't enough. My logo's a sheep because a sheep is an honest and humble animal that's not going to screw you over. Unlike the repair shop that I was actually, most of the repair shops and some of them that I was doing work for before I quit to start my own company. Yeah, like I really wanted to do some good work for the parent company that was on FreePBX, for Sangoma, and I just didn't have the time. I fundamentally didn't have the time. Like, the move happened, the getting fucked over by Eugene happened, the lobbying happened, COVID happened. I like them. I like their products, and I was actually looking at doing real educational videos for Sangoma, and they offered me a stupid amount of money to do that, like a stupid amount of money. But I wasn't able to make it happen. But I really do respect the FreePBX project. I love David Bowie. I think his stuff is great. Love Black. Again, just listen to that song, the You've Been Around, and then listen to the song that he covered, the original is based on. He took something that was just so horrible, so amateurish, and turns it into a magnificent piece of artwork. It's just beautiful. I don't know. I'd like there to be a mini Lewis someday. But I don't know where I'd be. I really have to explore the rest of the country and find out where I belong, where I fit in. I know it's not here, but I don't know where it is. I have to find where I fit, and that's going to be a long project to find where that is. I'm not mocking God so much as I'm just mocking the constant posting of blood stuff, Elif Maisie. Thank you, Frozen Blue. Chat is going haywire. I think I'm a head out now. See you later, Blue Spectre. You watched the Olympics opening ceremony. I never watched the Olympics. I don't watch sports. I don't get much entertainment out of watching sports. How is it with the president who's predictable? Better, right? What the president do very rarely, if ever, affects me. And even when it does affect me, it affects me in very, very small, superficial ways. I focus on many other things in my life. I think a lot of people focus on politics because of, at least presidential politics. Presidential politics versus local, like 99% of that is not going to affect your life. I don't have... Again, I know there's people out there that are genuinely affected by presidential politics, and I feel for them one way or the other. But at least for me personally, it just doesn't affect me to the point where I focus on that. There's a lot of other things that I need to focus on that are much more important than focusing on what the president is doing at any point in time, regardless of the party. I got a lot of shit I want to do with my life, and I got a lot of crap I want to accomplish, and I got a lot I want to do before I'm dead. And that's just too much to focus on to care about the president. Thank you. Money for the Carbs Fund. I haven't been there, but I did see a picture of the giraffe from Chulu Hills in Kenya on Apple's website, because Tim Cook wants to pretend he cares about the giraffe. Buffalo Bills Super Bowl 2021. I don't watch football. Thoughts on the Forgotten Borough? I don't know. I didn't like Staten Island much because I associated with my childhood, which wasn't very good because I was lighter than every other kid in my class. So until senior year of high school, when I bulked up and gained about 35 pounds, I got picked on horribly until I took this kid and tossed him down the stairs after I started using the weight room for a year. And I had a very fucked up household growing up, so I kind of associate Staten Island with that. I don't know how fair it is to associate Staten Island with that. Granted, a lot of the people that I met that were shitty were people from Staten Island, but it's difficult for me to really... I visited Staten Island and I went back through all the sites that I remembered as a child, like the houses of my friends. I actually knocked on some of the doors just to see who still lives there, and only one or two of them that I knocked on still had people there that I remember from when I was a kid. Okay, Alif, can you cut this shit out? Get the fuck out of here. Take your $2 Canadian with your shit too. But what was I saying? But yeah, I don't know. It's hard for me to separate the experience I had as a kid from the actual island itself as it exists now. Texas is constantly trying to raise property taxes. Yeah, they're at the 2% level. Texas has finally gotten property tax up to the New York and New Jersey level, like close to the New York, New Jersey level, which is crazy. Once a middle-class home has about like $14,000 or $15,000 in property tax, you could reasonably argue that you no longer own that home. The state owns it. In my opinion, once you have $1,000 a month, $1,000 a month in just property tax, I mean, you're come on. 1,000 is my cutoff. Do you think repair trades are the low-skilled jobs of the future? They're not low-skilled at all. See, you called it a trade, but low skill at the same time. That's just fundamentally, that's at odds with itself. Daniel Smullen doing some good moderating here tonight. I don't... Google says this is the cost of a burrito, $7.26. You Googled that outside of New York City, didn't you? Do you have any thoughts on Assurion's acquisition of U-Break, iFix, or large franchises buying, outpricing smaller repair shops as a whole? Do you think Right to Repair will help protect smaller shops from acquisition? I think that Right to Repair will help smaller shops get access to things that right now CPR and U-Break, iFix are looking to get access to exclusively. I know that places like CPR are looking to get access to certain tools and stuff that we would not get access to, and that would allow the U-Break, iFixes, and CPRs to gobble up small repair shops and say, you need to join our system or else you're not going to get access to parts or schematics or diagrams and you won't be able to fix anything anymore. Just give us a cut of your money. And fuck that. I mean, maybe it's just my general populist leaning, but I'm not going to put a U-Break, iFix, or a CPR logo on my shop until I'm dead. You're going to take my Rossmann Group sheep in front of my shop out of my cold, dead hands. I would sooner be fucking homeless and destitute on the street before I put CPR or U-Break, iFix branding in my shop. It's just not happening. And that's not, no, I'm not doing that. And, I don't want to live in that world. And I did do a video a while back where CPR did appear to be in the process of like trying to get access to some of that shit behind closed doors and, try to make some sort of agreements with the manufacturer. So, again, the Right to Repair that I'm for is for everybody. It's not like that. I'll talk like Elif Maisie here. This fuckface with all the copy pasta Bible stuff, which is it's not thou shalt only give schematics to CPR, U-Break, iFix, and Rossmann Group. It's thou shalt provide schematics to all. Have you tried Pop OS? Linux's come a long way for the average user. Linus recently had a video on it. It hasn't come as far as you think it has. Even just like basic audio plugins that were available on Windows and Mac OS in 2006 are still not matched by Linux in 2021 because nobody develops for it. If you get scruples, then you're a good person in this day and age. Sad but true given the profit-giving culture. What's a scruple? I got to Google that later. What are some things you like about yourself? I like my ability to be honest with myself, and I feel a great sense of shame when I allow tribalism or emotion to overcome my ability to be honest with myself. But I've noticed, honestly, ever since 2015 or 2016, that there's been a sincere decrease in the amount of people who can be honest with themselves. Money for Erica's Lee. Erica, what is this? Hing Mui?
Oh, thank you.
All right. Can I ask a computer-related question? Maybe. HVAC tech in Houston, Texas. Hello, Miguel in Houston, Texas. Have someone with a proprietary thermostat in their system. They had a couple $1,000 thermostats go out, and the only thermostat that will work is back-ordered. Well, is it fixable? If not fixable, then why? Hair of the Dog says Lumberton, North Carolina. Oh, that is a place I don't want to visit again. Lumberton is a place I had enough of Lumberton the week I was there to last me the rest of my life. The Good Shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. That's a lot of Bible shit. That's a lot of copy pasta right there. That's a lot of copy pasting. If you could accomplish one thing in your life beside Right to Repair, what would it be? I have another goal, and I've given myself permission to go forth towards that goal only once Right to Repair is passed. I can't tell you what it is, though, because if I tell you what it is, I'll have people outside my house. I shit you not. I am not making that up. But I do have a goal afterwards, and I've never recommended pegging. That is not true. No pegging. But yeah, I have another goal, but it's a goal that's a bit. I know that the moment that I say what that goal is, that people within that organization will be outside my house and watching me, so I don't want to say what it is just yet. I want to wait until I've passed Right to Repair, because by then I'll have proven to myself that I have the ability to accomplish something great. I can't say what it is because I don't want to give them the idea that I'm onto them. But I'm watching you. I'm watching you. Have you been contacted by the Biden administration to help develop Right to Repair rules for the FTC? I have not. Although I do have someone working on a white paper for the FTC. I can't really be the person that does that. Again, I'm glad that I haven't heard that song by David Bowie. I'm sorry. I haven't been contacted. Again, like, I'm an asshole that yells on YouTube and takes cat videos and, starts his videos I'm not the person that's going to get contacted for that. You guys know that. I've gotten right to repair to where I've gotten it to, and I've gotten a lot of people that otherwise would have never known this as an issue. I've gotten a lot of people that have never heard this as an issue to understand it, but I've done that in my own unique way. And the unique way that I've done it in is by being a relatable human being and humanizing the industry by kind of in a very specific and unique way on YouTube. And that is not a way that is conducive to me ever being called by a member of government and being in the room when these decisions are being made. So that I don't see that in my future. I do see me dealing with the individuals or hiring the people that are in the room to do that. And I would like to be a part of that, and I'm planning to be a part of that. But it's not going to be me doing it. It's going to be someone that's doing it in my name. Fuck off, Swoon, you cunt. Get the fuck out of here. You take your $2 and shove it up your ass. Have you considered Detroit, Michigan for your next relocation? No, I have not, but thank you for asking. Maybe I'll move to Gary, Indiana, or Lumberton, North Carolina. No, thank you. No, thank you. No Lumberton, no Gary, no Detroit. No. No! Do you have any recommendations on where to move that isn't so expensive to rent, own, that also has jobs that pay well? When I find, I will let you know, but I don't know yet. I'm still doing my own research and traveling. I don't know where to find jobs that are paying well. The reason I started a business is because I could never get a real job. And don't copy and paste. Copying and pasting is lame. I ban you if you copy and paste. That's very annoying. Where do you see you in New York in 10 to 15 years, and would you recommend someone aspire to move there? Not right now. Honestly, for all the shit I talk about New York, even 2 years ago, if someone really was willing to hustle and work 12 hours a day and they had an idea that they wanted to pursue, I'd tell them, yeah, come here to pursue it. Again, don't live here for the rest of your life, but come here to pursue your idea. Now, I would not recommend somebody do that. Even 2 years ago, for all the disdain I have for this city, I would acknowledge the insane levels of opportunity here, the insane levels of money here, the insane levels of intellectual wealth and human capital that's here to make your idea work. Silly Bible guy bought you a burrito. The Bible guy's buying me a burrito for the month. But still, take his $2 and shove it up his ass with all that homophobe shit. You like Velvet Underground? Not much. I don't hate or like. Have you ever thought about how much in our society and lives are just fake bull? Skata. What's skata? Is that like some other language for shit? Most of the things that we dislike about society exist for a reason. And the true red pill is that a lot of what we dislike about society, we dislike it, but there's a reason it's there. It's like people who get mad at, I don't know, sensational news articles. People get mad at sensational news articles, but when someone releases a news article that's 20 pages long, do you read it? No, you don't. No, you don't. I agree you don't really own a house in Jersey, more like a rental. Property taxes make long-term impossible. That's why I would never... honestly, at some point in time, I actually thought about New Jersey as a place to live, but 2.2% property tax, like, you don't own your home. Like, just the idea of home ownership being the American dream, you don't own your house if you pay $1,000 a month to New Jersey to rent it. Think about it. Like, you save up for a $200,000 down payment. You spend 30 years paying off the additional $400,000 to $600,000, and after you get to the end of that, you're paying New Jersey $1,000 a month in rent. And you were paying the $1,000 in rent for the 30 years you were paying off the house. That's such a fucking scam. I don't understand why anybody goes for it. I am not married, Nordstrom, and I don't see it happening in my lifetime. It's too one-sided at this point. Like again, if I found someone and they were with me when I was making $100 a week doing screen repairs, what would you do? Personally, if I had $200 billion in the bank, I would find a way to scale component level board repair school, and have it be freely available for every human being in the country that wants it. That's what I would do. I would also try to figure out how to create repairable devices, and I would actually try to compete with Apple and Samsung and Intel and all these other companies, and actually try to bring right to repair back at the manufacturing level. But I'm not going to have 200 billion. Does JEDEC certification matter to you? I have no idea what the fuck that is. That's a giant weird acronym. But what was I just saying? I totally forgot what I was saying, and I forgot what I was saying. Damn it. I had a point, and I forget what I was talking about. Can any of you guys remember what I was talking about 30 seconds ago? Because I feel like I was on a good rant. Oh, the marriage. If I was with someone where, like, when I was 20 years old, and I was making $100 a week, and I was living in a house filled with termites, not cockroach. I was living in a house filled with termites, and I was working 12 to 14 hours a day, and I was making $100 a week, and someone was with me, like from the very beginning until now, I consider marriage. But I can't consider marriage now. It's just, I fundamentally can't. I have 14 employees. I have a company. I have a channel with 1.6 million subscribers. I run 2 nonprofits. It's like, I can't consider marriage now. Because whoever it is that I get married to wasn't there while I was building all of that. So it makes no sense to give them a right to 50% of all that. It just doesn't make any sense. And whatever you say about a prenuptial agreement, my CPA has had an attorney that breaks prenups for his clients like clockwork on a regular basis. Yeah, like I would be willing to risk giving that up if I met someone when I was 20, like when I was broke and destitute and like and shit, and said, "Listen, Louis, I believe in you. I'm gonna help you through everything. I'm gonna be there with you while you're living in this termite infested apartment. I'm gonna, encourage you, and I'm gonna guide you through all these difficult decisions in your life so that you don't make the mistakes that you made. And I'm gonna be there for you when you fuck up and you come home after a year of working 14 hours a day and your business goes under, so that you don't feel like swallowing a bottle of pills. If I was with that woman from like 2008 to the present, yeah, I mean, I'd marry her, but I can't marry somebody now. It just like doesn't make sense. I don't want to. I'm not going to risk 50% of all this shit that I built while the woman that I'm with was not there, being given up. It makes zero sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. Would I make that risk if that person was there from the beginning? Absolutely. But I'm not doing that now. It just makes no sense. Scruples, a feeling of doubt or hesitation with regard to the morality or propriety of a course of action. Always had the feeling. Yeah, I definitely always doubt the morality of what I'm doing. I try to be honest with myself, but I think I lean towards beating myself up a little too much, but I'd always rather lean that way than go in the opposite direction, which is lean towards being... I'm atheist and gay, deal with it. Listen, man, I'm happy that you're atheist and gay. You do you. And like, again, I don't know how to ban people on this fucking Streamlabs shit. If I could, I would stop taking the weirdos' money, but I can't figure it out. Anyway, I'm like 3 comments behind now, so let's see where let me go back here. Yeah, so scruples is a feeling. I think I lean a little bit towards beating myself up, but I'd always rather assume that I'm an immoral human being, because there's going to be a point in my life where I do something that actually is immoral, and if I'm always leaning on the side of assuming that I'm being a piece of shit, then I'm less likely to do something that's bad, if that makes sense. What's your view on car dependency in North America, especially as someone who has seen experience the stark contrast of walkable, bikeable in New York versus the rest of the U.S.? I think that electric bikes are a much better way to get around, unless you're talking about commutes that are, like 40 miles each direction. I really do. I get a lot of shit for it, but I do. If you need to make a commute that's like 40 or 80 miles, or you need to transport 3 or 4 people, then fine, use a car. But like getting around places like New York City, or even just average suburbs, I'd much prefer to use an electric bicycle. It's so much more efficient. There's far fewer emissions. It's more fun. It's just so much more fun to get around on that. And it's so much more efficient. Even a car, 300 watt hours a mile. My bike, like 20 to 40 watt hours a mile. I think I answered. Okay, let's catch up a little bit. Let's catch up, because I missed a bunch of shit. I promise I'm going to read this stuff. Give me a moment. Where do you see yourself in the future? I don't know. He is only paying attention to Super Chat. It's not. I just read your comment and it's unpaid. Come on, man. Be reasonable. There's 40 messages a minute. I can't fucking read 40 messages a minute. That's not possible. You read 40 messages a minute. You take out a loan to start your repair business. I did not. I started with my $268. And I kind of rolled it from there. The old audio equipment I'm working on came with a schematic in the case and does use proprietary parts. I wish new stuff was like that. Me too. What got you into computers? My mother's cousin's husband. He was a child psychologist, and his name was Cliff Fish. I got to reach out to that dude. He got me a 286 when I was 5 years old, and he got me a GW Basic book, and I actually learned GW Basic from that. My parents didn't want me to have a computer. My mother was very anti-technology. She was anti-everything. She was horrible. But her cousin, my mother's cousin's husband, Clifford Fish, he was a child psychologist. He was the man. He was the man. I don't even know how to contact him. I really don't, because I stopped dealing with my mother's side of the family when she went full insane and I moved out. But he was the dude. He was so weird. Everybody thought he was weird. Everybody thought he was insane, but he was so cool. He knew, he didn't give a fuck what anybody thought of him. He would always, with his stoic face and just blank tone voice, say what he thought, and it would always be completely spot on and correct, and just kill everybody in the room. But he was the man. He gave me my first 286, and he gave me a pile of 300 or 400 floppy disks. I still have them. I got to reach out to him. Clifford Fish. He was the dude. Without him, this YouTube channel wouldn't exist. He got me into this whole mindset of fucking with shit and doing stuff I'm not supposed to do and figuring things out from scratch. I don't see myself franchising out my repair because I don't know if it's even possible to do what I've done in a franchise model. One of my weaknesses is that I'm not organized in the way where I can't come up with a business model that works for idiots. I just can't. And to make a business model around the United States, I think you need to be able to come up with a model where you can hire idiots and get away with it. And I don't want that to be a part of my business. I'd be open to trying to figure that out if there was a lot of money in it, but I don't know if there's a lot of money in it. Wondering why you worry about 2% in Texas on a 180K home. Where are these 180K homes in Texas? You're talking about rural areas that are far away from, where a lot of the jobs and opportunity are. And again, there's other states where you can get 180K houses in the rural areas where there's not 2% property tax anyway. Will there be Clinton Oreo BlackBerry sessions at the shop? No. Yeah, Clifford Fish. I hope he's still around. I actually got to find him. He was a good dude. It's weird with my family because very few people listened to me when I talked about the issues that my mother had. And then when she actually died, people were like, oh my God, I can't believe this. I can't believe she was like that. Wow, I had no idea. And it's like, yeah, I was telling you about this when I was 6. You all told me I was a spoiled kid, but hey, whatever. I haven't spoken to most of my mother's side of the family, but in a long time. But yeah, he got me into all this stuff. He was a crazy ass dude. He was a crazy dude. Everybody in my family thought he was nuts. I thought he was cool. He was cool. And he did shit his own way. He walked his own. That's a dude that walked his own path through life and did not give a fuck what anybody thought of him. And that was a real influence on me really early on. I didn't get to talk to him much. I didn't get to see him much. But when I did, he was an influence. Anyone on planet America care about the rest of the world, how they repair with less issues? I don't know if people in the rest of the world really do repair with us. I think you have a lot of the same limitations that we do. You just may still have you may still have it ingrained into your culture that you need to fix things in a way that we don't. But I think you still have a lot of the same restrictions because you're dealing with a lot of the same devices from a lot of the same companies. Okay, let's see. What have I missed with chat? What have I missed? I'm at 12:26. I'm 11 minutes behind. Fuck. When's the last time you went to Astoria? 3 months ago. Thought on the Three Trees Carcass Defiler as the name for a wood milling business and YouTube channel. Kind of weird. I would find something else. Don't use that name. That's weird. Lewis, you crack me up, baby girl. Huh? Is there a delay between Lewis sees the chat and people write here? Yes, because I'm one person and I'm reading 40 messages a minute. So What if someone comes along more successful and richer than you? then it would be different. Most certainly that would be so if somebody came along that was more successful and richer than me, that would mean that they would have more to lose than I did while getting married, so I'd be open to it. But 99.999999999% of the time, at least that I've seen in my life, the guy is usually more successful in the relationship. Like at the very least when it comes to business and money. I'm not saying that women are not more successful. There's tons of women out there that make way more money than I do. They're just not fucking interested in a jackass YouTube repairman. Like at least in my experience, I've never had a case where a woman that made more money or was more successful in life or business or a career had any interest in me. T1 under 5150. I usually mention this on the first date. I'm not one of the, again, like a lot of people think that the first date, you're supposed to present the best version of yourself. Nah, fuck that. My first date is, okay, how was your childhood? What are your politics? What's your religion? What do you think of what's going on in our country right now? What do you think of these different issues? What's your future? What do you plan for your future? Do you plan on circumcising your kids or not circumcising your kids? Because I think circumcising is fucked up. What do you think? Like, I put it out there on the first date, you know, like I don't hide shit. So I try to... I've noticed a lot of your testimonies for Right to Repair, you emphasize specific examples rather than broad ideas. Why is that? No, I don't. I emphasize broad ideas, and I also give specific examples of them because typically they want to see, is this an actual problem or are you just making shit up? It's easy to talk about a broad idea, but if you talk about the broad idea, which I do talk about in my testimony, but I don't link it to a specific example, then they're going to say, well, why do I need to pass this? There's no point. The other thing that you may be missing is that in most of these testimonies, you have 90 seconds to talk, sometimes 2 minutes, sometimes 90 seconds before a buzzer goes off. So when people say, why don't you say this? Why don't you say that? Why don't you say this? I got 90 seconds. I got 90 seconds. And then a buzzer goes off, which is why I'm doing a lot, which is why I'm getting involved in lobbying. Thank you to all those who donated to that fundraiser so that I'll be able to lobby and get things across. What's your views on polygamy and should America legalize it? I don't know. I don't really care what people do with their relationships. I don't see why it's illegal. You do you. You want to have a bunch, you want to have 10 husbands or 10 wives. I don't particularly care. I don't think that that's a sustainable model, but you want to do you. Again, I don't really care. You do you. Like, I think you should be free to do you. Yeah, so when it comes to the whole point of lobbying is that I can talk before it gets to the point of a hearing where I only have 90 seconds to speak. And I want to get things started before the legislation sessions even start so that I can set the agenda. Last question of the night. I'm an attorney. Am I a prostitute or a mercenary? That's really your choice. It depends on the clients you take on and your choices and what to do. What do you think of Trevor Bauer allegations? I have no idea I don't know on Trevor Bauer. I know a Jack Bauer. I watched a lot. I watched 10 seasons of 24. What kind of porn do you like? Cut your cussin'. Cut your cussin' is timeless. Leave New York. It's a gorgeous, wealthy country, and your wallet will thank you. It's a project. I plan on getting a Model 3 to have both the convenience and the fun, but they keep raising the price every 2 weeks. Blah. Well, firstly, that's way too much money. You'd probably have more money for a car if you stopped giving money to jackasses like me. But yeah, you're going to see that a lot with the car market because, again, the prices of the commodities are going up. Like, inflation's a thing, man. Inflation's a thing. Everything's getting more expensive. He's bringing up the old conundrum about marriage that rich and famous people get. They weren't there when I was nothing. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, when I was nothing, nobody was interested in me. Nobody gave a fuck about me. Nobody noticed that I existed. And most certainly, my God, the women that I asked out when I was making $100 a week. Okay, I feel bad because you donated $2, but yeah, I answered that question about five times. They are actually right to repair friendly. They're not virtue signaling. I did a video on it about 4 days ago. They actually put their money where their mouth was. I spoke with the CEO of the company. They are going to be making schematics and stuff available to repair technicians. So fucking good on them, man. Good shit. Why do people become okay with not owning things? Because people associate their identity with the brand. So when I criticize the brand for doing something wrong, whether it's Apple or Tesla or anybody else, I'm not criticizing Apple or Tesla for what they did as a company. I'm actually they take it as if I'm insulting their identity. So they become intertwined with it. There's a fanboyism that just doesn't seem to have existed the same way a long time ago. When I made $100 a week and I lived in a place filled with termites and my business was really just kind of relegated to the dark corners of Backpage and Craigslist. Oh man, the women I asked out had no interest in me. I mean, realistically speaking, the women that I even ask out, now that I'm successful, had no interest in me. But like definitely back then there was no interest. So it's just hard for me just marriage is a really difficult thing, particularly in Western society. I'm not even trying to go full MGTOW with it. It just doesn't make sense for me to potentially fuck up my business. Like, again, 2 nonprofits that I run, 2 businesses, a channel with 1.6 million subscribers, my life savings. Like, there's just too much shit there. I'm like, explain to me what am I getting in exchange for risking all of this because I get into an argument? And it's just no. I'll risk that for someone who was there helping me clean out the termites in the beginning. You were there with me in that apartment saying, Louis, I believe in you and I believe in your idea. Oh, you don't know anything about repair. Oh, you know nothing about electronics. Oh, you don't have a degree in anything and you think that you can beat this team in China that has 6 or 7 engineers on staff that do board repair. You know what, Louis? I support you. Oh, you want to show everybody how to do it after you learn it yourself? You know what? Yeah, I believe in you. There was a woman that believed in me back then. Yeah, fine, I'll marry her even if she was broke. Not doing it now. How do I know if you would have been there with me back then? There's no way for me to know if you would have been there before I was successful, before I ran the nonprofits, before I became the face of a social movement, before I had, 14 employees in a successful company. It's weird. Suck my balls, Volke. If I could goatsy you right now, I would. Man, if I had room with this recliner being there, I would GOATSE you right here. You take your $2 and shove it up your ass. My grandpa, whose name was Charles Fish, got me into computers, and I now own a tech business. Very cool. And mine was Clifford Fish. Yours is Charles Fish. But very close. People with the last name Fish seem to know what the... People with the last name Fish seem to be inspirational people. I don't know what that means, Vincent. I really don't know what that means. You ever drink 10 beers in one night? No, but I have had a bottle of Southern Comfort before. Like an entire bottle. I'm not doing that again. You ever ban a client? Oh, many times. People at the store are encouraged to. I have people at the store deal with so much shit. Like, I put them through so much shit to offer good service to people. But if someone mistreats them, everybody there knows how to show someone the door. I do not let my staff get abused by people. They only get to get abused by me. I'm semi-kidding. People telling stories about how they got in tech or started tinkering could have helped get public support, emotional persuasion big. Perhaps. That's what this... But then again, you saw what happened with the Steve Wozniak story. So many people said, yeah, but things are not surface mount. They didn't even have surface mount back then. Things are different now. So you could just throw that story out. Look at the comments in the Steve Wozniak video from the hardcore, not like people who admire Apple for what they were, but like modern Apple, like the modern r/Apple fanboyism kind of thing. You ever take a dump at the Atomic Wings bathroom? Nope, never will. This is why young men aren't having kids or getting married, because the financial risk isn't worth it. It's a disaster for our society. I think the financial risk was always there. I think there was always that risk that if you get married, like it's not. I don't think it was any different. Like 50 or 60 years ago, you divorce. There was that whole "you divorce my daughter," or the dad's coming after you with a shotgun or whatever kind of thing. Like there was always this cultural ingrained thing with marriage. I just don't think that you. It just seems like a one-sided deal now. It just like there's supposed to be like pluses and minuses, and it's just not balanced enough for me to consider it. Because my brother helped repair my wheelchair, replaced my seatbelt with my old chairs. Since new one, I lost warranty on the entire thing because of the simple fix, Asterius. Mr. Matt, that's never going to happen because that person is not going to have interest in me. That person is going to have interest in someone who's up. Typically, like, more successful, more money, 2 to 5 years older tends to be the average that I notice. Bose speakers are the best. Why the hate? Because they're not. They're horribly engineered. They're horrible products. They put all their money into marketing. They put none of their money into research. And they sound like shit. And if you think something Bose sounds good, that's because you're not used to good. You're comparing your $5 earbuds to their $500 headphones. Compare their $500 headphones to Sennheiser $500 headphones or Grotto $500 headphones, and then you'll hear what good actually sounds like. Or you could compare their $500 headphones to Sennheiser's $100 headphones, and you'll see that the Sennheiser $100 headphone sounds better than the Bose 500. Bose sucks. No highs, no lows. Must be Bose. Explain what lobbying is and how exactly does it work. I tried reading about it, but I still don't get it. Lobbyists are kind of like the cool kids in high school that got along with everybody. It's like that one kid that knew all the kids at every single table and was able to speak to all the different kids at all the different tables without having to be a phony. That one kid that really got along with everybody regardless of their views and could find a way to have a conversation with anybody. It's like having that guy on your side to get everybody into a particular issue. Everybody that I've met that seems to be a successful lobbyist, they all strike me as that one kid in school that was able to get along with the kids at every lunch table. Because you had the goths, you had the jocks, you had the rap hip-hop people, you had the kids that get in trouble for iPhone XS Max doesn't turn on at all or charge nothing. It's dead worth sending it in. For data recovery, yes. To be repaired as a phone, no. We mainly only do data recovery for stuff like that. But you had the jocks, you had the kids that grew up in fucked up households that would beat kids up or commit crime. You'd have the kids that studied all the time. You'd have the kids that were really into like punk rock music. You'd have all these different tables in high school, and it'd always be like every grade had one kid that got along with everybody at every table. That kid is going to grow up to be the lobbyist. People like you are the reason I have money. Take it. The one good medic, I don't know if that's true, but thank you. Lewis, Kevin Samuels, and Quam Brown give no Fs. Who's Quam Brown? Public transportation is more efficient than an electric bike. Yeah, but it sucks, and it makes me miserable, and it looks like shit, and it doesn't show up on time, and it takes longer to get to work, and it constantly breaks down, and you have to be in a car with 90 other people, and you have to look at dilapidated, shitty infrastructure, and above all, you're just not in control. Electric bike makes me happy. Good car infotainment repairability. Bad repairability, why? Because our culture has moved on to a point where we don't respect repairability. If cars had infotainment back in the 50s, they'd be repairable. But the reason they're not repairable now is because our culture has moved on to a culture that doesn't value repairability anymore. Heard today that a family friend's son had his new used car he bought totaled. Insurance company gave him $9,000 before he paid for it. What is going on with this market? When he goes to rebuy that exact same car, he's going to pay $10,000 more, even though the insurance company gave him $9,000 more. That's called inflation. That's called, you had shutdowns in lots of different places all across the world for a year, and that's going to affect supply chains. It's going to affect everything. You combine that with a bunch of government stimulus at a time when there probably should have been tightening of the money supply because there's less people working. Think about it. If you have less services out there in the marketplace, then if anything, it would make sense to tighten the money supply rather than inflate the money supply when there's less services. But there's a whole lot of mess going on there. Lots of things are going to be expensive for a very long time. More expensive. Cat lover, Sliwa for mayor, save the animals. I asked Curtis Sliwa if he'd want to be on the channel for an interview. I never heard back. Michael Carver was the music guy I was thinking of that Lewis is friends with. I like Michael Carvin. Do you use Faraday cages or bags? I don't use either. You talk about sometimes you doubted your business would succeed. When moving to the new store, while I was trying to learn board repair, right after I burned my bridge with the motherboard repair company that was fucking up all the board repairs, when I moved to the new store, and then COVID happened right after I doubled to tripled my rent that I was paying right as the world economy was failing, there's many times that I thought my business was right about to fail. Why are so many people interested in whether or not I took a dump in Atomic Wings' restroom? Computer guy at high school is Carl Fish. Good guy. Mr. Morell from PS23. He was a good computer teacher. I very rarely, if ever, had a good computer teacher. Mr. Morell, if he's still around. From my PS23. From the 90s. We had Tandies. How'd you come up with your logo? The sheep is honest, and he doesn't rip people off like many other repair shops were accused of doing at the time, and the repair shop that I worked at the time was doing. So the sheep is an honest and humble creature. I think Eric Adams is an upgrade over de Blasio. I'm not going to say it's a great upgrade, but it is an upgrade. Congestion pricing for cars is going to result in there being more Ubers in the city. It's not going to reduce congestion. It's just going to increase the amount of people using Ubers, which at the end of the day is actually less efficient than you using your own car. And I don't. But it will allow the city to collect more money that will go into the MTA, which is poorly managed, and it's kind of like giving money to the MTA is just kind of like putting money into a fire. You need to put out the fire first. I'm moving to IT in one of the major computer manufacturers, and I'm terrified of all the thickets I'm going to have to deal with. Well, I wish you luck with that. First baby girl due in November. Explain to my future daughter Willow why right to repair is important. Right to repair is important because by the time you are my age, a house will probably be $5 to $10 million and be the size of a bathroom. You're not going to have a lot of money, and you're going to want to be able to fix the things that you have so that you can pay for your lifestyle. Uber is capped, so that statement is cap. Oh, you're just nonsense. Uber has a finite number of licenses issued. Yes, and they're going to be driving around more. Or you'll have new services. There's a reason that Uber is in favor of congestion pricing. There's a reason that Uber lobbied in favor of congestion pricing in New York City. This year, the Librarian of Congress renews rules about exemptions to DMCA, including those for repair. Are you aware of the opportunity here? Yeah, but every single year we apply, and every single year we get smacked in the nuts. Thanks for letting me wield the band hammer. This was fun. Got to get back to work. Talk to you later. I have to catch up with you, Daniel. We have a lot of things to catch up on soon. I'm not a fan of having lots of congestion in cars in New York City. Fine, make e-bikes legal. Make real e-bikes legal. Not this bullshit where you can only have $5,000 to $10,000 Trek pre-built e-bikes that are 250 watts that are useless. Make real e-bikes legal. Let them go on the road. Can't have that. That would actually help. Are traps gay? My girlfriend's boyfriend needs to know. In my opinion, yes. But that's a really strange question to ask me. You shouldn't go to me for questions like that. Don't go to your MacBook repairman for questions like that. I admire your intuition and judgment. I'm trying to promote my generalist IT business on Martha's Vineyard. How would you promote yourself? I used Craigslist, Backpage, and Kijiji. And I figured out what the pain points were when dealing with other businesses. So I actually called other businesses pretending to be a client, and I asked a bunch of questions, and then I tried to figure out where I could fit myself in. So, okay, you use used parts, not new. Bam. Okay, it takes you a week to order the part. Cool, I'll keep them in stock, so I beat you. Bam, I'll offer instant service, new part, and I put the price that you say is the price you pay. So I tried showing up at the business, calling them, and seeing what was in the ad. The price they charge you when you show up, the price that's in the ad, and the price you get on the phone were 3 different fucking prices. So I would put the price you see is the price you'll actually pay, not the same with every other business. Little saying my mom came up with as I deal with some nightmare warranty repairs: you break, I fix. I slap, you cry. I like that. But yeah, the thing that I forget what I was just talking about before that. Fuck, I had something to say. I wanted to finish that statement, and I totally forgot what it was. Lewis hates all business. That includes bows. That's not true. That's bullshit. I moved from IT to fine dining years ago to pay for my student loans more quickly. What materials would you recommend for getting back up to par? What do you want to do? That's a very general question. You want to get it back up to par. My general solution would be figure out what people need. Actually, that ties into what I was saying before. So what I did was I figured out what sucked about other places from the point of view as a customer, and then I addressed my ad to those fears. Rather than just saying what I thought made me good, I specifically made my advertisement a response to how shitty a lot of the other businesses were. And I spoke to what I knew people were going to experience at other businesses, so by the time they got to my ad, it's like, wow, this guy gets it. Speaking about marriage, not promoting anything, but in our religion, we are not allowed for real to divorce ever. We both know it's never an option. You could always just disobey. You know, there are lots of people that disobey their religion. Go back to Susan Wadder High School to talk about right to repair, but praise Mr. Gilberto, your former principal, in front of the whole school. You know, you're thinking of Mr. Gilberto. He was the assistant principal of IS-24, not Susan Wagner. He also sucked. He was horrible. Nobody liked Mr. Gilberto. Fuck Mr. Gilberto. But, what else we have? Can spontaneously take a bus at 2 a.m. You can bike. Yes. Lewis knows almost zero about money. Look at how Canada took care of its citizens and businesses. That's not an argument. A lot of the times where people say things like that, what they do is they make a statement, but it's not actually an argument. And the thing that you'll notice about a lot of people is they have no concept of how to actually produce an argument. Like, they fundamentally don't know how to produce an argument because they've never had to. So they just kind of, it's like they throw crap at the wall and see that it sticks. And congestion pricing does not work fine in London. It resulted in there being taxis and crap out there constantly. It's a money grab. You still have traffic in London. Get the fuck out of here with that fake news bullshit. I'm an instructional designer for an information technology damn it. Went off the screen. Let me see. You're going to have to produce arguments. You have to produce real arguments. You can't just throw shit at the wall, man. We expect more here. Lobbyists give money to politicians to pass laws that will benefit the company or themselves. That's at the high end. At the high end. At the lower end, hiring a lobbyist is really kind of like hiring the popular kid at school to talk to all the people that you don't know how to talk to. Do you see yourself getting out of the repair business? I will not until it's truly at the very end. I'm an instructional designer for an information technology department. I can help design training courses and create communications if you're serious about wanting to provide people with learning resources. Contact me. I would love to hear from you. Contact at rightsrepair.org. Please, contact at fightsrepair.org. Man, it's getting late. I forgot my own email. Contact at fightsrepair.org. Vital, please. Contact at fighttorepair.org. Will the passing of right to repair in the U.S. have a positive effect worldwide, or will companies be forced to comply only within the U.S.? Companies would have to comply only within the U.S., but when automotive right to repair was passed in Massachusetts in 2012, they didn't treat customers differently in Massachusetts than they did in the rest of the country, because that's weird. You have to come up with a different system for dealing with people in different areas. What they did, they just decided to stop being dicks throughout the country. Further, we don't live in a world where a schematic can be released in Massachusetts or in Kentucky but not make its way to Canada or Toronto or something like that. You know, we don't live in that type of world. We live in a globalized world where you can't have information available in one section but not another. You can't have an ISO 9240 being sold in one state but not another. It just doesn't work like that. Do you ever see yourself selling off your business and retiring? Are you going to hang on to it forever? Well, I don't see anybody lining up to buy my business. Like, there's not a lot of people lining up to buy this company. It's not the type of company that you can really sell, because the company is based on the people there. And the moment you try to sell it and turn it into a company that makes more money by lowering people's pay, they're going to leave. And once you try to replace them with minimum wage people, then you lose what makes Rossmann Repair Group Rossmann Repair Group. What makes this company the company that it is what makes it the company that it is the people working here. And in order to turn this into a company that would be worth purchasing, you would need to underpay them, cut their pay, or find new people, at which point it's no longer this company. Those two questions that just pop up on the screen, I believe I answered them before they showed up on the screen. Had Bose headphones years ago, and they didn't wow me until they offer 4-pin XLR. I won't take them over my Sennheiser HD650. Oh, man. Sennheiser HD650 is just going to be so far. It's going to be in another world than Bose. Just fundamentally a different world than Bose. Rossmann claim American stimulus plan did not work. No, Rossmann claim is that specifically if you're going to have less services, if you're going to have less people producing, that if you expand the money supply at the exact same time that happens, that you are going to wind up having inflation if you have giant expansion of the money supply at the same time that you have contraction in services. Not only can you not make an argument, but you also strawman like crazy, which is really annoying and just something that I would highly suggest you stop doing. So A, learn how to produce an argument rather than throw shit at the wall and see what sticks. And B, if you're going to quote your adversary, at the very least quote what your adversary says, not what you want to strawman them into saying. It's really, really disingenuous, Ronald. It's very disingenuous. And you should stop doing that. iPhone 8 super haywire after battery replacement might have damaged MOSFET. Could I bring it to the workshop? Bring it to the Saturday one. Don't bring it to the Thursday one. Because that's a David question, and David's not here on Thursday. Also, when it comes to Canada, if you want to talk about what I actually said when it comes to inflation, take a look at your housing prices. They're making articles on Bloomberg claiming that you've ran out of land. Your housing prices are insane, so you don't get to say that any of that. It works. Yeah. Lewis and his staff make it Lewis Rossmann Group. Yeah, the thing is, I've had people that were interested. QE is asset stopping. It's not money printing. Lewis and his staff make the thing is, I've had people that were interested in buying my business, but what they've done is they've made it clear that they would cut the current staff or the pay incredibly to make it work. I have no interest in that. That's what they're going to do. And then I'm going to have to like leave it knowing that I fucked over everybody who's here. It's just lame. Yeah, like I'm not poor. I make good money off of my business, and my business runs in a way that I can live with, that I'm happy about, that I'm proud of. I wouldn't want to sell it just for somebody else to come by and fucking ruin it and Toys R Us it or something. I wanted to save up to do an e-bike conversion on an old bike, but was scared away from it by friends because of laws. Oh, nonsense. Nobody's paying attention to that. At least not in New York, nobody's paying attention to that. Just took some notes. Thanks for the help. I'll apply myself as more personal IT solution along with being available more than during the off-season. What you really got to figure out is what people doing. What are people not doing in your area properly? And then can you squeeze your way in by pretending to be a customer of a local business? Like, figure out, like, what point is a point you were like, wow, you could get away with that? Like, for instance, when I went to Tampa, Florida, I called the top 3 rated Mac repair places. None of them answered their phone at 2 p.m. 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. None of them answered their phone. So it's like, okay, I'll put in my ad. Call anytime. We'll answer phone on first ring. And then they'll call somebody else and they'll be like, oh, I don't want to deal with this. I'm going to go to this guy. What you want to do is you want to reinforce what the customer already knows and is aggravated with within that industry, and then point out how you're different immediately. Because what it builds trust with the customer immediately if you're explaining to them a problem that they know they're having. Will Uber and Lyft become a duopoly? They are revolutionary for me as a blind person, but I worry about shared monopolies. I'm not sure that their business model honestly works. I don't know how long they're going to be around. Like the moment Uber was charging way under what it actually cost, so investors were subsidizing cheap cab rides, and the moment that they raise it, they may find out that people don't want to actually pay for it. I genuinely don't know if their business model actually works. I'd be surprised to see if it actually works. Do you have a bike build series? I don't have a bike build series. I have a EM3 EV video on my live channel. I don't dress up as an octopus on Halloween. That's kind of weird. You have 3-wheel cargo e-bikes for deliveries. If it works, it works. It's kind of hard for me to ride, but if you can ride it and it works for you, then use it. Not sure about speakers. Bose makes the best aviation headset, A20 model, miles better than competitors. I've heard that about their aviation headsets, because that's for actual professional use, so what they make there, it can't suck. What time do you go to get up each day? It differs from day to day. I aim to wake up around 9 to 9:30. Imagine a side where people are too lazy to cook, so they order fast food. They are also too lazy to drive, so they order Grubhub. Now too lazy to work, so government pays them. I'm guilty of that. I did a lot of Grubhub when I was doing board repair. Because one of the things that I'm really bad at is I get so stuck in a problem and I want to solve it that I actually won't even get up to get my water. Not because I'm lazy, but because I believe... you're welcome. Because I believe that if I get up, I'll lose my train of thought. And I didn't want to lose my train of thought so bad while I was trying to solve a problem that I would sit there for 9 hours without eating. So I just got to the point where I'd eat the same thing. I just go to Grubhub. I wouldn't even try to think about what I wanted. I would just reorder the last thing that I got because I needed it to be one button. If I didn't have it to where it was literally one button press and food arrives, I would wind up going a whole day without eating, and that was very unhealthy. So I used Grubhub a lot when I was learning how to do board repair and getting into the business. You can still consider Oreo a bum. Yes, did you just hear him meow? That was him meowing. He is a bum. He is a giant bum. Logic was one of the best classes in college. Learned how to argue. I wish more people were taught that in school. Would make for a better populace. I never learned that. I never had a logic class. Limehouse Blue says women are drawn to successful men. Barbecue Express says every city that's implementing a condition pricing policy and a significant reduction in greenhouse gas emissions within priced areas, 17% in London. I'd like to see a citation of it and read up on it. I'm open to being wrong. But one thing I would prefer is instead of taxing the cars, give people bikes. Instead of saying, we're going to punish you for doing the thing that we think is bad, say, let's reward you for doing something that's good, that you're actually going to find fun. Because honestly, if you get people to find, you get someone on an e-bike in London or New York City, if you get them to actually use it, if you can figure out a way to influence them to use it, they'll never want to go back to a car, because driving a car sucks in New York City. You get them on an e-bike where you can actually go around traffic when traffic goes to a standstill, where you can feel the wind in your face, and it's just like, you don't have to worry about blind spots and all that shit, and you get to work faster. That is so much fun. Legalize the fun, good option rather than make it more expensive to use the other option, is my opinion. But I also want to see a citation on the reduction. Because what I was reading about was it just was the same amount of traffic. It's just different. It was just mostly more professional traffic rather than personal traffic. But I'm open to being wrong. It's good to be wrong sometimes. If you're wrong, then that means that the world is... When you're a pessimist and you wind up being wrong, it means the world is a better place than you thought it was. Which is a good thing. It's nice being proven wrong as a pessimist. Just got on stream. Did you hear about California and 5 states banning high-performance pre-built PCs? I read headlines, but I haven't read into it very much. But again, yeah, my thought on it is it's really weird to come up... Again, like for instance, I have 2 air conditioners in my apartment because I have a giant apartment and one doesn't do it. So, like, I can't, like, do you limit that? Do you limit, like, I don't know. Okay, you have let's say you would have a limit on a high-end computer because it takes too much power. But do you have limits on other things? Is there a limit on how long I can use a hairdryer for? Are you only allowed to use a hairdryer for a certain period of time? Are you allowed to charge your car? How much can you charge your car at home? Like, what, imagine saying Canada, USA are out of land. Oh yeah, Bloomberg was pulling that shit with Canada a month ago. I did a video on that. What's stopping people from electric bikes right now? They're illegal. So companies that make pre-builts, because most people don't want to build their own, make shitty ones. They're limited to like 750 watts or under, 20 miles an hour or under, and no throttle, which makes it totally useless. And since it's a niche item that's useless, there's low demand, which means it's very expensive because you can't produce an item. You can't mass produce something that nobody wants to buy and have it cheap. So they'd have to be legalized. Just took some... I read that one. What's your take on the semiconductor chip production shortage? Chip production in U.S. and reliance on lower-cost manufacturing. Should we lean on chip independence? We should, but I genuinely think... Again, I feel like we're too far behind for that to be a thing. People that are 20 to 30 years ahead of us, how do you catch up? How do you catch up to people that are 20 or 30 years ahead of you just like that? It's not easy. It's not as easy as people think. Ardiash, I can't answer that question again, or I will jump off a bridge. Let's see. Optimist proclaims that we live in the best of all possible worlds, and the pessimist fears this is true. No. That's how I feel about my business. I can't imagine selling it and watching my employees get screwed over. I am 100% certain if I sold my business, they're going to screw them over. I'm not paying them what I'm paying them because I'm nice. I'm paying them what I'm paying them because I'm being lazy when it comes to coming up with procedures that would allow an idiot to do the job. As a woman who dresses professionally for work, my choice and not required, I can never ride an e-bike full-time when I wear a long formal skirt 5 days a week. Yeah, but I'm confident you could wear something that's not a long formal skirt and still look absolutely kick-ass. Stephanie, I'm confident that you could rock a pantsuit. You would rock a pantsuit. Let's see. And trust me, it would be worth rocking a pantsuit to not have to deal with the traffic you have in a fucking car. I think I answered that one with I don't have a build series. I just have the EM3EV video on my live channel where I show the finished version. Go to ebikes.ca. They've got some good stuff. ebikes.ca. Go to Grin. Check out Grin. Here's another $5 featuring board repair. Boss likes I can fix the 120 board for 32 cents in an hour. Love you, Lewis. I may have been drinking. Don't drink. It'll mess up your board repair. I've tried that before. It's not good long term. Only short term. Why are people interested in whether I dress up as an octopus on Halloween? That's weird. Do you think trying to copying everything patented or copyrighted is wrong? If they're making shittier versions, which is oftentimes what happens. Uber and visually impaired. In New York City, it was impossible to get one because they all look the same and I can't read a license plate. That sucks. I'm sorry. We catch up with chips real quick if there were a war. Maybe. Go on level 1 text. Invite Michael Reeves. Do what Spano? Do what to Spano? What do you think of the Steam Deck? I get a lot of questions about that. I barely know what it is, and I've never used it, and I've never seen it before. I feel bad, because every time somebody asks that, they give me money, but I don't know what it is. I should figure out what it is. I really have no idea what that is. Let's see. Steam. I have a Stream Deck, but someone told me last stream that is not it. So what is this thing? It looks like a PSP or a Game Boy Advance or something. Holy fuck! When I was a kid, a Game Boy was $100. What the fuck is this? $650 for a fucking portable game thing. My God. Oh, man. Holy shit. Thank you for your service, Up Top Champion. Thank you, Russell. Planning a build, should I go with the cheaper BBS02 or save and get a BBS HD? If you're going for your first build, get a BBS HD. If you've done numerous builds before, get a Cyclone because it's not going to break as often as the BBS HD will, and it costs way less money. You'll kill your BBS HD. You will. You'll see. Here's some money and pressure to talk about Steam Deck. Yo, portable game consoles be expensive now. Man. How would you improve the city planning of New York City? Start from scratch. We're far beyond the point of like minor adjustments. Start from scratch. It's a complete PC, Lewis. Oh. Start from scratch. Thank you, Alejandro. Abacus IT can soar now. I wish you the best of luck with your business. Possible to fix original DS screen? Love to get it fixed. It may be, but I've never done that before, so I probably wouldn't be the person to ask. There was this business that did game console repairs. X Cubicle. They were in the Wall Street area, the financial district. They were featured in a Wall Street Journal article with me 11 years ago. Check out X Cubicle. You're coming to Jacksonville. I visited Mark in Jacksonville for a week and a half in the beginning of June. I'm probably going to go to Jacksonville again to see Mark. Mark is constantly trying to convince me to move to Jacksonville. He's always trying to talk me up on Jacksonville because I think it's because he can't leave. Nebraska agriculture purchase right to repair, but won't let me change the bootloader on my cell phone. How will we improve this aspect of device ownership and right to repair? Get more people to understand it as an issue and push manufacturers to let us have access to it. We still got a 17-inch MacBook Pro for your work, but it gets hot and vertical lines appeared. What do I do? Google Dostu GPU fix. Find that guy and send him your computer. Just got on a stream. Did you hear about California and 5 of the states banning high-performance people PCs? Yes, I have, but I only read the headline. I didn't read the article, and I don't want to comment too much on it before I do it. So the last 3 times I answered that question in the stream, I said the TLDR of it is very interesting because it doesn't seem like they're limiting how much electricity your house can use, but they're limiting what you can use, what you can buy to plug in your house, which is very interesting. Can I have 3 hair dryers going all day long but not have a high-performance PC? Very strange. But again, I read the headline, not the article, so, don't ever trust the fucking headline. Not in 2021. We're stopping electric bikes right now. The fact that they're illegal. The only bikes that are available are the ones that suck. Pedal assist sucks. It doesn't feel natural. It's horrible. And you're limited in power to 750 watts. 750 watts is enough power to piss off people in the bike lane, but too little power to be able to ride in the street. They're just horrible hybrids. They're made to to appease Karens, and they're just horrible, horrible hybrids. The current legal e-bikes they're the worst of both worlds, and they suck. Super Octopus Friend, Hatako Dai Tomoda. What the fuck? Will New York City stay a world-renowned city? We'll see. We'll see. You should take a look at Not Just Bikes channel. It shows how people and friendly and car-centric American and Canadian suburban design is. I will take a look at it. Do you have any new business ventures in the work? Or are you pretty content with the repair shop? My current business venture in the works is what I want to do is I want to figure out how to offer free workshops to teach people board repair, soldering, and electronics troubleshooting using the nonprofit that I got a grant from in a manner that is sustainable and something that I'm able, and I'm working on that for the next few months. I want to actually make it free for someone to walk into the store and figure out how to do all the shit that I know how to do. Like, I want to figure out, how do I make that free? How do I combine 2 110 volt for 220 volt? Is it legal? Is it legal? I have no fucking idea. Usually, there's a channel on YouTube on it. So you TLDR, you take a multimeter, you take 2 extension cords, you plug them around your house, and you'll find where from one to the other, it's 220. So usually, it's your living room outlet combined with the kitchen, because typically the kitchen is out of phase with the rest of them. Whether that's legal, again, that's on you. Fuck if I know. But there are people that have done that before, and that's how they did it on YouTube. Yeah, what I want to do, what I want to figure out is, can I use the nonprofit that I have to structure a class or a workshop that is free for someone to come in and learn how to do soldering, BGA shit, electronics repair, and not have to pay for it. So the next generation of people that start out totally financially fucked the way I started out could accelerate their learning process and getting into this industry. And and I may fail while doing this, and I may stumble, and I may wind up doing shit the wrong way, but that's how I'm going to figure out how to do it the right way. So I am in the process of trying to figure out how to do that. And I'm experimenting with some of these free meetup groups, but I'd like for the experimentation to eventually turn into a finished product. That's what I'm at now. I feel like that's the end. The end of it is, can I come up with a method to get people for free to learn all the shit that I know how to do? And there's a guy last August that gave me a phone call and said, "Hey, I like what you do on YouTube. What would you do if you had money?" And then this year he sent me a check for a stupid amount of money and said, "Now go do it." So now I just got to start doing it. And let's see what I can do from there. He said I could pay myself 6 figures from that organization too. I still haven't even gotten around to like paying myself a dime from it, because I honestly haven't even really put together a plan of what I'm going to do with that organization yet. I haven't paid myself anything from it. I feel like I have this responsibility to actually produce something before I can pay myself anything. I don't feel like I've produced anything yet. I want to produce something. I'm going to produce something. What I'm going to produce is the best educational resource for component level repair that's available for free to anybody that wants to learn. And I want to make that available for people in person. And I want to make it sustainable so that like 5 years from now, that shit is still going off of that one grant. I'm going to figure that shit out. And people are not going to have to bang their heads against the wall for 4 years to figure out how to do something basic, because they're going to have people and mentors that want to see them succeed, that are compensated based on their success. I think I can do it. We'll see. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll fail. It's very likely I'll fail. Most ventures fail. Most small businesses fail in 2 years, particularly. But we'll see. I'm going to make this shit work. 3 people showed up to my last workshop. We'll see. I'm going to make this shit work. Do you eat apples or no because it reminds you of the company? I actually used to eat apples regularly in 2009, but that was because I was too broke to actually buy real food. How much patience do you have? Depends on what I'm doing. Lewis's goal is to put himself out of business for the greater good. Nah, you don't understand. One, Tech Advanced, look at Apollo rockets. I don't know what that means. Tech Advanced Apollo rockets. See, here's the way I see it. There's still large swaths of the country that have no idea that they can get stuff repaired. So if I teach people how to repair, and I come up with a schooling system where people can come in and for free learn all this stuff, I don't want to talk about Steam Deck. I find it boring. It looks like a PSP and it's a computer and it runs Linux. Like the end. I don't know. It genuinely bores me. I get nothing out of this. Like, why should I care about this? Why should I care? Tell me why I should care. Like, look, it's a game console, and it looks like a PSP, and it runs Linux, and it has a joystick. And there's a dock. Oh my god, I've never seen a dock before. I don't give a shit about this. I don't care. There's nothing about that that gets me excited. There's nothing about that that makes me excited. But what I wanted, start from scratch. I think I answered that one right. So what people do is they think, I need to try to figure out how to get a bigger slice of the pie. And the way people typically get a bigger slice of the pie is by trying to cut other people out of the pie. What I believe in, and what Eli the computer guy also believes in, is making the pie bigger. So I don't have to edge other people out of the pie. In fact, I can even add other people to the pie. I could give other people pieces of the pie. I could give other people pieces of my pie, as long as I'm able to make the overall pie bigger. And that's what I'm looking to do. Now, making the pie bigger by getting more people to understand how to do these repairs is necessary. I mean, if I'm going to get more people to understand repair as an option, then I think I also have a responsibility to ensure that more people can do them. I hate vinyl. I can't stand vinyl. Alan Loft in the mid-2000s on Axiom Audio's forums used to talk about all the distortions with vinyl, and I agree with him. Once you learn how to hear the distortions of vinyl, how to hear it at the decay of each piano note, you never unhear it, and it's horrible. I can't stand vinyl. Free will be expensive in the long run. You should charge a set of classes. Well, the idea there is if I can teach enough people, here you go against your fight against Apple. Thank you. Here's my idea. If I can get enough people to actually sign up for these courses that are free and learn something from them, and after they learn something from them, then they go on to make great businesses, and I can post all this information, maybe it will attract another person who then donates to that charity so that I could keep this going for a long time. You understand? Because I think there's a lot of billionaire and multimillionaire money out there looking to give money to a 501c3 instead of give it to a freaking give it to the tax man. And if I can come up with free education that actually works and gets people out there making money and doing things and actually able to do repairs they otherwise weren't able to do at a high level of quality on a regular basis, I think I could make that sustainable. But again, maybe I'll make it sustainable. Maybe it'll fucking crash and fail. I don't know. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try. I may fail. May do a horrible job. But we'll see. Does this guy respond to 1% of questions? You sound salty as hell, man. I think I answered that one. Similar business plan at Khan Academy or Wikipedia. We'll see. Why don't you move your business to the Midwest? Because my employees are what make my business what it is, and they all have lives. What do we have? They have lives and roots here and all that. Someone asked about Framework laptop. Please no. I can't keep answering that question. Please no. New questions. I can't keep... There's only so many times I can give my opinion on that. I actually made a dedicated video to give my opinion of that. But it doesn't show up in people's feed. Most videos I make don't show up in people's feed. That's why this channel has 1% of its viewership on most videos that I do. Let's see. Where's my Framework video? I'm going to find my Framework video. Let's see. I'm going to find my Framework video. My Framework video is right here. Oh my god, this video hit almost 2%. Wow. This is my Framework video, and yeah, 1.6 million subscribers, my balls. I got 29k people. No. I think it's cool. I think it's cool that Framework is open to making schematics available to people. I feel bad because I threw the CEO under a bus. But after throwing the CEO under a bus, I realized he's actually a nice guy, and I was kind of unfair for fucked up. I fucked up by doing that, and he's really open to making this available. How about a live collaboration with Eli, the computer guy? I'll visit Asheville someday. You know what? I like to visit Asheville. I'd be honored to meet Eli again in person. I visited Eli when he was in Maryland, and I'd be open to it. I think 3 people showed up to the last one. If you hadn't gone in tech repair, where do you see yourself? therapist, but I probably would have been a really bad therapist. I would have been a bad therapist. Take my money to help out good kids. Thank you. About time to get out of here. I work for a New York company that sells phones by the bulk worldwide, and I repair and refurb them. My company is leaving to Florida this upcoming month. That being said, are you currently hiring? Not currently hiring at this moment. Where are you going to in Florida, though? I'm curious. If you created the class, I would move near wherever the location is just to take it. Wow. That's crazy. Justin, stop copying and pasting that. That's weird. And Combo, stop trying to bait me. The MTA is much better than transit in Chicago. Chicago must be really messed up then, because the MTA sucks. I liked your walkabout videos through the dying mall that is New York, but it'd be awesome if your companions on such excursions were also wired up. For example, I can tell Erica is making a joke sometimes, but I have no idea what she's saying. Keep up awesome. I think Erica is barely... pineapple on pizza, yes or no? Definitely pineapple on pizza, but definitely no to pizza because pizza's too many carbs. Not much nutrition in pizza. Erica is like she's following me, but she kind of like wants to get the fuck out of there and go home. Like I'm confident that she's putting up with me, not like really excited. In terms of that, to have a microphone on her as well, I would need to have like a wireless pack, and then I'd have to have a recorder that there's 2 channels instead of 1 channel, and there's a lot of complicated shit that goes into that. And honestly, a lot of those walk around videos, it's just like, we went to a museum this day. Oh, look, there's a bunch of shitty stores on this block. Let's record them. They're not really thought out that much. But yeah, I'd have to get another microphone. I'd have to get another recorder to support it. And I'll think about it. Those videos, the New York City failing videos usually tend to get demonetized, so there's no real revenue in those. Honestly, I don't do the New York sucks videos for the revenue. I do it because I actually believe in this shit when I'm talking about all the stores being empty because of the clusterfuck real estate market. But those videos tend to be demonetized, and it wouldn't fund the buying all that recording equipment. I could do it, but I don't know. Those videos are really just kind of an afterthought. They're not like the main stuff. Maybe it's worth it. Like, I think it's one of those things where if I ask Erica to put on a microphone and carry an extension cord with her or something, she's going to probably like smack me in the back of the head and say I'm out of here. Thoughts on hate of Amazon and Bezos rocket launch? I have no thoughts on it because I don't care. If you want to go to space, you go to space. You know, I don't actually have to have an opinion on Bezos going to space is what I've learned. Everybody thinks that they need to have an opinion on Bezos going to space, and I don't. He can do what he does. I don't care. He can go into space. Bezos can go into space. I don't care. It really has nothing to do with me, so I don't care. I don't have to gossip about Bezos. I'll talk about Bezos when something he does affects me personally, but I don't particularly care. Depends on the kid, Nordstrom. Depends on the kid. I do, Argent Paragon. I do. Lewis's video helped me repair my old HP Pavilion. Works to this day. Thank you. That's awesome. Have you visited West Palm Beach in Florida? If you did, would you move here? I only got to Fort Lauderdale. I got to Fort Lauderdale and Miami. I'd like to check out West Palm Beach, and I'd like to spend some more time in Fort Lauderdale. Oh. Good morning from Europe. Good morning, Mario. There's no need to hate on pineapple in the car. Pineapple's awesome. Pineapple and watermelon on pizza is awesome. I know now you're a boss, but do you still go to the shop and fix anything like you used to? I don't do repairs, but that's less about me being a boss and it's more about other things that I don't discuss on camera. Me not doing, because even for the many years, like I was a boss in 2014, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Like I was a boss throughout that time. It wasn't like I just got a promotion. And is my name cursed? Yes, it is. I have no idea. It's just a bunch of question marks. I did repairs for all that time. It's for the best that I'm no longer doing them. Louis teaches me how to keep my cool when talking about things that really piss me off. I don't know how I teach that because I don't think I live it. I think I become pissed off on camera a little bit, almost more than I do in real life, honestly. Have you ever reached out to PK, Woody's Gamer Tech? I've never heard of that. They have a show where they discuss current events and various topics, right, to repair exposure. I never heard of them. I will check it out. When New York City rent prices go down again, once the city is in permanent disrepair, but by then it won't matter. I really hope they would sooner because it would mean that you would have a renaissance in the city, but I don't think so. Thoughts on demonetizing in general? Isn't it kind of like financial censorship? This is a very unpopular opinion. I had it 4 years ago. 5 years ago, I did a video on this, and I pissed off a lot of people. I'm going to do it again. I don't think demonetization is censorship. I don't. I was on the internet in 2002. Do you know what it would have taken to take a 1 gigabyte video and share it with everybody on the internet in 2002? You would have been paying thousands of dollars in hosting fees. Now, people grow up in a time where you can upload a video and you can have it shown around the world and they will host the video for free. But no, that's not enough. People now need to get fucking paid for it. And to be clear, if you want to get paid for your work, that's fine. But demonetization isn't censorship. It isn't. They're hosting your video. They're hosting your 1 or 2 gigabyte file and they're playing it to people around the world with no buffering. Be happy. Be happy. When I first got on the internet, if you wanted to host a fucking video, you had to pay thousands of dollars to do it. Thousands of dollars. Does anybody remember Real Player or Real One? Anybody remember that shit? Anybody remember how bad online video was in 2002? And the companies that were hosting these videos that would buffer for ages before you could play them, even if you had a DSL line, they were paying out the ass to do it. They were paying so much money. You can upload a video with no money. $0, and you can have it spread to the world. But no, that's not enough. You need to get the ad revenue for it too. Get the fuck out of here. To be, again, obviously, am I happy that videos I do like that are demonetized? No. I'd rather take the money. But come on. Come on. You could upload shit for free. You can upload things, and you can share that video with the world for free. This is an incorrect version of the world back then. Oh, bullshit. Bullshit. So you could host a 1080p 60 video that was, let's say, 10 minutes long, 1 gigabyte back then for free? Where? Where? Show me. Listen, I think a lot of the shit that YouTube does is fucked up. And I'm not saying that I'm happy when I get demonetized. I'm just not calling it censorship. When they delete your video for bullshit reasons, censorship. But demonetizing, no. That's legit. Wasn't sure on how planned these vids are. Yeah, the thing is, if I start planning those videos, then they're going to suck. I think what makes those videos interesting is that it's literally like, I've decided to walk home that day. I walked down my block and my block looked like a shithole. So I picked up my camera and I just recorded it as I walked. But the moment I start planning those videos, then it's going to become contrived. Because there are videos, thanks for signing my Model 79 Corvette replica of my car in Fort Lauderdale. I remember that! My crypto mining, GPU repair cloud business is going well. Yeah, there's this fucking 18-year-old kid that showed up at this thing, and he showed up in this kid's 18 years old, and he showed up in an $80,000 car, and he said, I started watching your stuff, I fixed graphics cards, and then I got a crypto mining business. And it's like, dude, you're definitely following a different strategy than I am. He's not following the buy high, sell low strategy that I've followed throughout my lifetime. Because he had like a $70,000 or $80,000 car with him, and he's half my age. But congratulations, man, you're doing something right. And yeah, the Fort Lauderdale meetup was probably the best of all the meetups that I've held so far. It really makes me want to revisit Fort Lauderdale and do another one. The Fort Lauderdale crowd was really cool. For Erica's Guri Guri and Calby's Rib Fund. Especially that one guy that worked in construction or cement or something, he had a real cool personality, eh? I gotta keep in touch with that guy. You missed the last notification, but how do you feel about motorcycles, or would you ever ride one? I was looking at getting my motorcycle's license, but it was fucked up because of COVID. There were very few people giving lessons. I don't know if I get a real motorcycle. Because if I want to travel long distance, I feel more comfortable doing a very long distance in a car. But for getting around the city, I like having an electric bike. I don't know if I still have a few months left to get my motorcycle license. Here's the thing. Honestly, riding an electric bike for as long as I did fucked me up for a motorcycle. I'm used to switching gears like this. I'm not used to switching gears with a pedal, and I'm not used to having my rear brake on a pedal and then my front brake up here and then a clutch over here. So my muscle memory is so fucked up from riding an electric bicycle every day for 3 or 4 years that when I actually get on a motorcycle, it's just all like foreign to me. You put more hope into your videos. I have a lot of hope in my videos. If I didn't have hope, I would not be putting any effort or time into Right to Repair. I'd just be black-pilled and think that there's no point to anything. There's a lot of hope in here. Yes, it's all in your interpretation. Demonetized videos aren't pushing the algorithm. So what? If you host a file on your server, in 2002, there was no fucking algorithm. If you hosted a file on your server, not only were you paying thousands of dollars a month for it, but it was on you to get people to watch it. Back in my day! I'm finally old enough to say back in my day. Kids these days. You'd pay $1,000 a month for your fucking server, and if you wanted anybody to watch the shit that was on your server, you had to post it places, and you had to get the people to watch it on your own. There was no algorithm. There was no autoplay where it's just it infinitely plays shit for you because they have that much bandwidth available and they want to keep you there all day. Most small repair shops I've had experience with suck, but that's my limited experience. What's your personal take on privacy? Privacy is important because all human beings in some way, shape, or form are pieces of shit, and we also live in a society where you're not allowed... How much Rossmann stock can I buy for this? We don't have stock. We're not publicly traded. All human beings in some way, shape, or form are giant pieces of shit. And we don't live in a world where we can be open and honest about the fact that we're pieces of shit. We try to hide it. We shame people when they do things that are bad. But when we shame people for doing things that are bad, we pretend that we ourselves don't do things that, I would never do that, or I would never do this, or I would never think that. It's like, yes, you would. You were probably thinking that yesterday. You probably would do it if you thought you could get away with it. So because people are pieces of shit, and because we're not at that point in society where we can be honest with ourselves, privacy is very important. Because you don't want other people knowing when you've been a piece of shit. Like, here's the thing. If you weren't ashamed of anything that you did, if you had zero shame of anything you've done, would you really care about privacy? You care about privacy because you don't want to be judged. You don't want to be judged because you've done things that would probably be seen in a poor light amongst people in your community. So privacy is very important. And the thing is, here's the way that you get people to not care about privacy. You say, well, if you didn't do anything wrong, you wouldn't have anything to hide, therefore you wouldn't want privacy. That's how people fuck with you when it comes to privacy. They say, if you had nothing to hide, you wouldn't need privacy. Well, if you had nothing to hide, you wouldn't be, if you weren't doing anything wrong, you have nothing to hide, right? If you weren't doing anything wrong, you have nothing. No, everybody does something wrong. Everybody does things that are wrong. That's the precise reason that privacy is so necessary. I want my private life to be private because I say and I do and I think things that are probably very fucked up. And I don't want other people to know what those things are. Or I think and say things that are not fucked up, but when I'm speaking without in a shorthand way. And I know that the person I'm talking to understands the context. I know that I don't have to make things very specific to them because they understand the context. They know who I am. And if there's 3 different interpretations of what I'm saying, I can speak in shorthand because I know that the person that I'm speaking to is not going to assume the worst of those 3 interpretations. Whereas you in chat may assume the worst of those 3 interpretations because you don't know me. Privacy is important because there's a lot of this. Great channel. I'm in military U.S. territory of Guam and I have 2M miniature and micro miniature repair. That's at any device and do-it-yourself e-bikes or online. Get a Cyclone instead of a BBS HD. Get a phase runner controller from Grin, that's ebikes.ca, and ask all your questions vbikes.ca. They're good people. I care about my privacy because I don't want things being out in the open because the people involved can easily be swayed by public opinion. Yeah, but why would the people they would be swayed by public opinion. Why would the public opinion be something that is bad? Why would it be something that would seek to change what you're doing? Because they have different ideas of morality than you. Back in my days, floors creaked and no one complained. Back in my day. Go to ebikes.ca and say Lewis referred you. Magic, Chris Bell. It's magic. It's magic. I value privacy. Have you thought of making your own lithium batteries? No. No. Not for me. Did Edward Snowden waste his life? No one seems to care about government spying on them. No, he didn't. Edward Snowden's a hero. I respect Edward Snowden for what he did. I told you months ago to change levers on your bike to match a motorcycle's controls. No, I need to do the opposite. If I buy a motorcycle, I need to change the levers on it to match my bike's controls. Privacy is antithetical to tyranny. I agree with that statement 100%. He should be pardoned. Well, he exposed the illegal behavior of the government, so he should be pardoned because what he did was not a crime. You hate me if I go back to working in Apple retail. Everybody's got to do something to make money. I won't hate you for working in Apple retail. I would hate you if you speak the lies that they tell you to speak to consumers. Don't lie to your customers. Tell them the truth. Tell them the truth when something stops working. Don't bullshit them. Don't gaslight them. As long as you're honest with the customers. If you're honest with the customers, go work at an Apple store. I don't care. Be honest to them, though. Be honest. Your videos inspired me to quit my job at Apple. I started working for an independent repair shop instead. That is awesome, Zach. Do you believe more people are supporting right to repair because of companies like Apple and their products get more expensive and or more automated things and technology advance? I think more people are supporting it because they're sick and tired of going to the store and getting fucked over. When it hits their wallet, they care. I want to stock up on passive components and transformers because I like building apps, but I need to wait until I can afford it. Do you think something drastic will happen to the economy? Why are the ones with the small text always so long? There's no way I can read that in one go. Let's see. Reload. Do you think something drastic will happen to the economy within the next half decade to where this won't be possible in the U.S.? I don't think so. What would happen to the economy where you can't buy a transformer or resistors and capacitors? The only thing that I could see making that happen is war, where the countries that are doing the production of those things... Thank you, Monte. I think the only thing that could happen like that would be war, where the countries that are producing those things no longer sell to us, and we have not gotten production in America to the point where we can build things. Now, whether or not there is going to be a war with many of the Asian countries that are responsible for building these things, I can't answer that question. Yeah, I can't answer that question for you at all. That would suck, and I think if that were to happen, that this would be the least of your concerns. If that were to happen, this would be the least of your... I mean, building shit would be the least of your concerns, honestly, at that point. Why doesn't Geek Squad Best Buy fund right to repair? Don't they have an incentive to? No, they have an incentive to come up with an arrangement with Apple. The same thing is true with them as with CPR. They have an arrangement to come up with some they have an incentive, not arranged. They have an incentive to come up with a backroom arrangement with these companies to where they get special access to things that independents don't. Right to repair is I get schematic, you get schematic, Erica gets schematic, Oreo gets schematic, everybody gets schematic. What they would benefit from is a situation where only small numbers of people get access to things because they still buy into the idea of I want to get as much of this pie as I can rather than let's increase the size of the pie and my business will naturally increase that way. You like the idea of people going back to typewriters? I don't like or dislike it. I don't really care what other people do with their stuff. I'm surprised anybody uses a typewriter. Doing Game Gear repair, would you replace every cap? Or test and fix each cap? Oh, fuck testing individual caps. Because the value is going to change. It's going to like be okay now and not okay later. Like don't do that. Just replace every cap. Don't torture yourself. USA started off rebelling against government. Pardon Snow. Pardon Snowden. I believe in pardoning Edward Snowden. I don't think he did anything wrong. I think Edward Snowden's an American hero. And I think that him exposing what the government was doing that was illegal makes him an American patriot. He may have not done what the American government at that time wanted him to do, but he did what the American government in spirit would have wanted him to do based on the founding principles of the country. And I think he deserves a lot of respect for that, for living up to his principles and being willing to get tossed out of his country for it. Edward Snowden's country betrayed him. Edward Snowden did not betray his country. That should be made very clear. Snowden did not betray America. America betrayed Snowden. I know, Smark. I don't deserve it. No false advertising, though. I let them know that they're giving it to a piece of shit. And I never let the people in the audience think that I'm not a piece of shit. Did you see the article? Yeah, I did. I saw that. I saw the headline, not the article. What is this Death Grips shill? I don't know if it's going to go back to that, Vlad. I think it has to crash. It has to crash before it goes back to that or has a chance of going back to that. What would Oreo do with schematics? I don't know. He'd probably poop on it. He'd probably sit on it and cry and then poop. That's what he usually does with anything. He poops a lot. Hydrate. Thank you. I forgot to hydrate, actually. I got my giant water over here. What kind of music do you like? Dream Theater, Alice in Chains? "6 a.m. I gotta get out of here. It's 1:50 in the morning. What am I doing here? Alice in Chains' Jar of Flies is awesome. Nutshell and Rotten Apple off of Jar of Flies. Amazing songs. I gotta get out of here. For Dream Theater, listen to Scarred from 8:15, Live from 5:12, Blind Faith from 7:55, Stream of Consciousness from 7:55, Goodnight Kiss from 4:40. Yes, I remember the specific time that the guitar solo starts in almost every single Dream Theater song. I have a library memory for that, actually. And for almost every single Dream Theater song from 1997 through 2002, I can tell you the name of the song and the time that the guitar solo starts in it. That is like a waste of 4 gigabytes in my head. Anyway, 6 o'clock on a Christmas morning. Awake was an awesome album. I liked Awake. Oh, and Mirror from 3 minutes and 30 seconds. But that's not a guitar solo. That's kind of a... dun, 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 dun. Boom, 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 boom. Anyway, yeah, 3:30 on the Mirror on the album Awake. Anyway, I'm not a big Dream Theater fan because of the vocalist, which is why I remember all the timestamps of where the good part starts so that I don't have to listen to James LaBrie. Anyway, I'm out of here. I'll see you all later. Wow, this is really way too long. This is almost pushing 3 hours. Okay, I'm out of here. Bye-bye.